Chapter 1131. Useless Thing. No matter what, I, Shuang, am a member of the River Luo sacred sect, yet you're asking an outsider where I'm going. A cold snort of dissatisfaction came from a skinny old man with a hunched back. Greetings, Dao Ancestor. When Wang Huazhong saw the old man, he hurriedly bowed and greeted him. The stooped, skinny old man snorted once more. I'm still a million miles away from becoming a Dao father. If word of this gets out, others will laugh their heads off. Yes, Dao Ancestor. Wang Huazhong hurriedly bowed and replied, still addressing him as Dao Ancestor. Ning Cheng from the Pill Association greets Senior Shui. When Ning Cheng saw Shuang, he quickly stepped forward and greeted him. In a place with no one around, he could ignore Shuang. Now that there were so many people in the Heaven Essence public square, including the River Luo sacred sect master, Shuang had to show some respect. Moreover, he had called for this meeting not only because he wanted to kill Man Suotian, but also because he wanted to borrow Shuaying's name. After Ning Cheng and Wang Huazhong, almost all the sect heads came forward to greet them. Shuang might not have made any contributions to the Grand Essence realm, but Shuaying's strength was still here. This was a form of respect for strength. Shuang nodded to the crowd, then looked at Ning Cheng and spoke, "It looks like I have underestimated you, causing such a big commotion. If you have something to say, then hurry up and say it. After you finish, we can talk about it slowly." Ning Cheng also no longer remained polite. He displayed the strength of the Pill Union, while Shuang was still in her second heaven's blight. As long as Shuang could still think clearly, she wouldn't fall out with him. Seeing Ning Cheng fly up to the main altar, the Heaven Essence public square immediately turned silent. Even Shuang allowed Ning Cheng to speak first, which meant that he acknowledged Ning Cheng's strength, or that the Elixir Association had acted on their own initiative. Ning Cheng bowed to the sect masters in front of the public square and all the cultivators on the public square before speaking up in a clear voice, "For the few spots I snatched from the Grand Change realm, the major sects in the Grand Essence realm suddenly changed their faces. Barbarian dragon clans Man Suo Tian even disregarded morality and directly slaughtered the Pill Association." Ning Cheng's first sentence was a slap in the face, causing those sects who had snatched Ning Cheng's spots to feel embarrassed. They had indeed not participated in Man Suotian's attack on the Elixir Association, but they had participated in Man Suotian's share of the quota. Man Suotian has already fallen. For the sake of my Grand Essence realm's stability, I don't wish to pursue the past. It's just a few spots. In my eyes, that's all. My Grand Essence realm isn't any worse than the Grand Change realm. The only thing lacking is the incomplete laws. Who can be sure that my Grand Essence realm's heaven and earth laws have always been incomplete? If one day, my Grand Essence realm's laws are complete, would anyone still rush to go to Grand Change? Although Ning Cheng's voice was not loud, but it was clearly transmitted to the ears of everyone in the public square. Guild Master Ning has great ambitions and is worthy of our respect. Even if the Grand Essence realm's laws were complete, for others, the Grand Essence realm would still be their backyard. They could come and go as they pleased. No matter how good Sect Master Ning's idea is, it's just wishful thinking. Profound Moon Spirit Gates Fei Feng spoke with a calm voice. In front of so many people, he refuted Ning Cheng. If Ning Cheng wanted to do anything to him, it would only end up as a vindictive villain. Ning Cheng looked at Fei Feng and said calmly, "Sect Master Fei has just taken over as the Profound Moon Spirit Gates Sect Master. Among all the major sects, you're probably the sect master who has been in charge of a sect for the shortest time. Therefore, it's understandable that Sect Master Fei didn't think of a way for others to come to the Grand Essence realm and leave as they pleased. After all, it's only been a short time, and they don't have a sense of belonging to my Grand Essence realm yet." Fei Feng's expression suddenly turned ugly. Ning Cheng said that he, the sect master, had an unknown origin. Moreover, he also scolded him for not considering the Grand Essence realm. So, does Guild Master Ning already have a way? If the Pill Association has a way, my Profound Moon Spirit Gate will do its best for the Grand Essence realm. Fei Feng spoke with a cold tone. Ning Cheng ignored Fei Feng and continued speaking in a clear voice. Fellow Taoists, the first thing I've gathered everyone here today is to rearrange the Grand Essence Realm's boundary-protecting Grand Array. I can't arrange this boundary-protecting Grand Essence Realm by myself. This time, Ning Cheng couldn't even finish his words, and the entire Heaven Essence public square turned noisy. Even when Ning Cheng said that he killed Man Suatian, there wasn't this much enthusiasm. Rearrange the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection Grand Array. Was this a joke? This required at least a top-grade Spirit Array Master, or even someone above the level of a Spirit Array Master. Not only that, but this Array Formation Grandmaster also needed to be a top-grade Array Dao genius. Otherwise, this boundary protection Grand Array could only be a dream. You want to arrange the boundary protection Grand Array? Even Shuang looked at Ning Cheng in shock. He didn't expect that Ning Cheng had gathered everyone here to discuss the arrangement of the boundary protection Grand Array. Shuang, all the sect masters, and all the cultivators on the public square thought that they had heard wrong. How many materials and manpower did the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection Grand Array need? After hearing Ning Cheng's words, most people's eyes fell on a middle-aged man with a purple copper face. If they wanted to arrange the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection Grand Array, this person was the most qualified to speak. In the Grand Essence Realm, Sky Array Valley was second only to the top 10 sections. And this middle-aged man with a purple copper face was the sect master of Sky Array Valley, Sha Su. Sha Su was not only the sect master of Sky Array Valley but also a top-grade Spirit Array Master. Moreover, he was also the only top-grade Spirit Array Master in the Grand Essence Realm. With so many eyes focusing on him, Sha Su also stood up. He cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng and said, "Association Master Ning, I've thought about your wish for countless years. Unfortunately, my strength is too low. Not to mention arranging the boundary protection Grand Array, I can't even control the general layout." Sha Su's meaning was clear. If you want to rely on me to arrange the boundary protection Grand Array, then I can only disappoint you. I don't have the strength to do so. Ning Cheng quickly cupped his hands and said, "As for arranging the boundary protection Grand Array, I'll need Sect Master Sha's help. As for setting up the boundary protection Grand Array, I'll be the one to complete it. Of course, I can't complete the arrangement of the boundary protection Grand Array alone. I'll need at least 100,000 Array Dao Grandmasters to help." What? Association Master Ning, you said you'll be the one to lead the arrangement of the boundary protection Grand Array? This isn't a joke. The Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection Grand Array isn't an ordinary planet's boundary protection Grand Array. This. Sha Su asked in shock. If it weren't for Ning Cheng, the new association master, killing Man Suatian and inviting Shuang, giving him such a high status, he might have already questioned him. The Sunken Fish Palace's Palace Master Wan stood up. "Sect Master Sha, I don't think Association Master Ning is boasting. The reason why Man Suatian didn't escape is because Association Master Ning's array formation locked him down. If I'm not wrong, Association Master Ning's Array Dao has already surpassed the level of Spirit Array Masters." Sha Su originally wanted to ask Ning Cheng about the Array Dao. But when he heard the Sunken Fish Palace's Palace Master Wan say that Ning Cheng's array formation trapped Man Suatian, he immediately stopped what he wanted to say. To trap a Dao integration expert, even if he spent another million years, he wouldn't be able to arrange it. As for saying that Ning Cheng's Array Dao had surpassed the level of Spirit Array Masters, he didn't believe it. "Association Master Ning, do you really have the confidence to arrange the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array?" Shuang couldn't help but ask again. Ning Cheng looked at the many eyes staring at him. He knew that everyone wanted to ask this question, but Shuang asked it for everyone. Ning Cheng calmly responded to all the gazes looking at him and spoke with an affirmative tone, "As long as you help me and give me what I need, I can definitely arrange the Grand Essence Realm's entrapment array." "Okay, if you can arrange the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array, I, Shuang, will be the first to support you. Not only will I not take anything from you, but I will also promise you a condition," Shuang said immediately. He didn't say what Ning Cheng would do if he couldn't arrange the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array. But he believed that Ning Cheng would know. If he couldn't arrange it, then he would die. Using the full support of a Dao integration expert, if Ning Cheng couldn't complete the defensive array, how could he continue to stay in Ning Cheng? Okay, I just need you to help me once. Ning Cheng didn't say this out loud but sent a voice transmission to Shuang. Hee, I didn't expect someone in my Grand Essence realm to boast about arranging a defensive array. I'll support you today. If you can't arrange the defensive array by then, don't blame me, Shuriqing, for being impolite. Another voice came, and a woman sitting on a chair suddenly appeared in front of the Heaven Essence Sacred City's public square. Ning Cheng felt shocked. He didn't even notice when the other party came, but she was already sitting here. This kind of strength was terrifying to the extreme. This person definitely surpassed Dao integration. Since when did the Grand Essence realm have so many Dao integration experts? This person was a woman. Was she the one from the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond? Sure enough, just as Ning Cheng thought of this, the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond sect master came over with a bow. Ning Cheng suddenly understood. Sure enough, it was the Dao Integration Holy Emperor from the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond. I knew you would come out when the Grand Essence realm arranged the defensive array, hee. Shuang chuckled and stopped talking. Ning Cheng swept his gaze across the public square but didn't see anyone from the Void Star sect, let alone the Dao Integration Holy Emperor from the Void Star sect. From the looks of it, not all Dao integration experts came out when he said he wanted to arrange the defensive array. Only the Dao integration experts from the 2 sacred sects came out, and one of them was even incited by him. Pill Association's Ning Cheng greets Senior Sure. Since I said it, I'm confident that I can arrange it. As for the details of the defensive array, please forgive this junior for not being able to tell you. Ning Cheng spoke with a tone that was neither arrogant nor humble. He suspected that Shi Qianghua was in the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond, but he didn't have a good impression of the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond. Shuriqing waved her hand and spoke up impatiently, I'm not blind. I can see. Her implication was the same as Shui Ying's. That is, if you can't arrange it, you're dead. Ning Cheng didn't care about Shuriqing's threat and continued, arranging the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array is the first thing to do right now. I hope that the sect masters of the major sects will join forces to help. At the same time, I also invite all the spirit array masters in the Grand Essence Realm to participate. As for the materials for the array, I ask every sect and every cultivator in the Grand Essence Realm to donate them. After the Grand Essence Realm's defensive Grand Array is completed, I will set up the Grand Essence Boundary Steel in the Grand Essence Sacred City's public square. The ranking of sects or individuals on the Grand Essence Boundary Steel will be based on the number of materials they contribute. The higher the ranking, the more rights they will enjoy in the Grand Essence Realm. Chapter 1132. When Ning Cheng said those words, the faces of the sect masters of the various sects turned ugly. This move was just too vicious. Ning Cheng wanted to set up a boundary protection Grand Array. As long as it didn't involve the interests of other sects, no one would care about it. If you asked others to donate materials, would others really donate materials? If I don't donate materials, do you think you can rob me? But now, Ning Cheng wanted to set up the Grand Essence Boundary Steel and engrave the amount of materials each sect donated on it. This way, it would be clear at a glance who donated how much. If a sect ended up donating less materials than an individual, then that sect's reputation in the Grand Essence Realm would be ruined. Association Master Ning, I think the amount of materials donated should be based on the willingness of each sect. This time, it was Heaven Essence Sacred City's City Lord Lu Jiesheng who came forward to speak. Dao friend Lu, I just said that the Grand Essence Boundary Steel should be set up according to the contribution of each sect. Even if Dao friend Lu doesn't donate a single blade of grass, no one will say anything about it. After the Boundary Protection Grand Array is completed and the Grand Essence Boundary Steel is erected, we will hold another Grand Essence Realm sect meeting. For the rich sects, we won't pull out even a single hair. We will vote on whether to persuade them to leave the Grand Essence Realm. For those sects with very little contribution, we will strictly restrict their sects from leaving the Grand Essence realm. Ning Qing didn't wait for Lu Jiesheng to finish his words and directly interrupted Lu Jiesheng. He didn't even allow Lu Jiesheng to say the words Grand Essence Boundary Steel. Lu Jiesheng was at a loss for words. But looking at the strength of the Pill Association, he had no choice but to shut up. Even Lu Jiesheng was blocked by Ning Qing. Some of the weaker sects didn't dare to stand up at this time even if they wanted to oppose it. But Lu Jiesheng didn't expect that Ning Qing didn't stop there. After finishing his words, he looked at Lu Jiesheng and said, "Dao friend Lu, Heaven Essence Sacred City has fallen into chaos under your leadership. Fighting, killing, ignoring the flight ban. Therefore, Heaven Essence Sacred City will no longer be under your control. Instead, the Pill Association will take over. The Grand Essence realm will establish the Grand Essence Dao Court. After the Boundary Protection Grand Array is completed, Heaven Essence Sacred City will be directly under the control of the Grand Essence Dao Court." Lu Jiesheng's face turned livid with anger. But even after he looked around, no one stood up to speak for him. He could only swallow his words again. He reckoned that if he dared to refute again, this surnamed Ning might find an excuse to kill him. In fact, Lu Jiesheng had not guessed wrong. If he dared to continue to refute, Ning Qing would have directly taken out a few pieces of evidence, and let the people from the Pill Association kill Lu Jiesheng. At this time, he wanted to use the East Wind to rebuild the order of the Grand Essence realm. He absolutely couldn't let a nobody like Lu Jiesheng stand up and refute him. If Lu Jiesheng refuted him and he didn't deal with him, that would be the worst. Seeing Lu Jiesheng holding back his anger, Ning Qing didn't take it out on him again. Instead, he continued, "This is the second thing I wanted to say. I hope to establish the Grand Essence Dao Court in the Grand Essence realm after the completion of the Grand Essence realm's boundary protecting Grand Array. The Grand Essence Dao Court didn't want to control the major sects, but to maintain the general safety of the Grand Essence realm and reconcile the conflicts between the major sections. To put it bluntly, if a powerhouse comes to our Grand Essence realm one day, and everyone sweeps the snow in front of their door, and no one can take the lead to protect our Grand Essence realm, what would the result be?" No one objected to Ning Cheng's proposal. The Grand Essence realm already had such an organization, the Grand Essence realm's Sect Alliance. It's just that this Sect Alliance only had a name here, and it usually only did some trivial things. For example, the opening of Mystic Realms, the extraterritorial spirit spring that Ning Qing participated in before, the Grand Essence Realm Spirit Technique Pavilion, and so on. Now that Ning Qing proposed to establish a Dao Court, it would have many more comprehensive functions compared to the Sect Alliance. "May I know who the Dao Court's Dao Monarch will be?" Desolate Spirit Palace's Xiao Luojin asked. Ning Qing cupped his fists towards Xiao Luojin before replying, "I suggest that the first Dao Monarch will be River Luo Sacred Sect's Senior Shuang. As for the subsequent Dao Monarchs, Senior Shuang will nominate the successor. Of course, if the Dao Court's Dao Monarch can't satisfy the many sects in the Grand Essence realm, we can also appoint a new Dao Monarch through the Sect Assembly." Shuang was a Dao Perfection powerhouse, and he was also in the midst of crossing the Second Heaven's Blight. With such strength, no one would have any objections to becoming a Dao Monarch. Shuang glanced at Ning Cheng. How could he not understand Ning Cheng's meaning? Ning Cheng wanted to return the favor. Because of his support as a Dao Perfection powerhouse, he was allowed to become a Dao Monarch. He was currently crossing the Second Heaven's Blight and wasn't in the mood to become a Dao Monarch. After Ning Qing finished speaking, he slowly said, "Dao Monarchs don't have to have the strongest cultivation, but they must make the greatest contribution to the Grand Essence realm. If Association Master Ning can arrange the Grand Essence realm's boundary protecting Grand Array, I, Shuang, will support Association Master Ning to become a Dao Monarch." Shui Ying's words truly came from the bottom of his heart. Ever since Ning Qing killed Man Suatian, he knew that Ning Qing would one day stand at the same height as him. If Ning Qing could really arrange the boundary protecting Grand Array, it meant that Ning Cheng's future achievements might even surpass his. For such a person, he would naturally try to befriend him. Of course, all of this was based on Ning Qing arranging the boundary protecting Grand Array. Otherwise, there was no need to talk about it. I also agree. If Association Master Ning can arrange the Grand Essence Realm's boundary-protecting Grand Array, my 9 Revolution Sacred Dao Pond will also support Association Master Ning to become the first Dao Court Dao Monarch. Shuriqing followed behind Shuang and spoke up. Apparently, she had already thought of what Shuang thought of. Ning Qing also understood the meaning behind Shuang and Shuriqing's words. They wanted to see how he could complete the Grand Essence Realm's boundary-protecting Grand Array. However, he didn't care about it at all. Setting up the boundary-protecting Grand Array was something he wanted to accomplish in the first place. With 2 Dao Perfection Holy Emperors supporting Ning Qing to become the first Dao Monarch, other sects wouldn't dare to say half a word against it. Seeing the major sects agreeing to let him become the first Dao Monarch, Ning Qing didn't continue to decline. He didn't care about this Dao Monarch. The current situation was that if he became the first Dao Monarch of the Grand Essence Realm, whether it was arranging the boundary-protecting Grand Array or gathering the strength of the Grand Essence Realm, it would be of great help. Many thanks for your support, Dao friends. This Ning will boldly appoint the first Dao Monarch to preside over the arrangement of the Grand Essence Realm's boundary-protecting Grand Array. Although the Dao Court hasn't been established yet, I want to announce one thing first. Ancient Crossing Mysterious Clans Patriarch Li Feng, River Luo Sacred Sect Master Wang Huazhong, 9 Revolution Sacred Dao Pond Sect Master Dai Fu, 7 Star Sacred Sects Deputy Sect Master Mu Yuan Kong, Profound Moon Spirit Gates Sect Master Fei Feng, Desolate Spirit Palaces Sect Master Xiao Luo Jin, Flaming Feather Spirit Mountain Sect Master Peng Qiyuan, Sunken Fish Palaces Palace Master Wan, Silver Dragon Clan's Patriarch Gong Wu, and Sky Array Valley's Sha Su will be the Dao Court's 10 court pillars. Ning Cheng's words immediately made many people feel relieved. It was clear that Ning Qing didn't want the Pill Association to be the king and stand above the top 10 sections. Sky Array Valley's sect master Sha Su even stood up to express his gratitude. Sky Array Valley was still far from the top 10 sections. Now that Ning Qing made him one of the Dao Court's 10 court pillars, it meant that Ning Qing wanted Sky Array Valley to replace the Barbarian Dragon Clan as one of the top 10 sects of the Grand Essence Realm. This was Ning Qing's goodwill. All he had to do was to help Ning Qing complete the boundary-protecting Grand Array. Clan head Li Feng will be in charge of the materials contributed by the sections. The other 9 major sects will supervise and strive to complete the arrangement of the Grand Essence Realm's boundary-protecting Grand Array in a fair and just manner. After Ning Qing finished speaking, everyone in the Sky Essence Public Square voiced their support. Even Fei Feng didn't say anything. He and Ning Qing had conflicts, but Ning Qing still made him one of the 10 court pillars for the sake of the overall situation. If he didn't know what was good for him, Ning Qing would most likely kill Fei Feng before completing the boundary-protecting Grand Array. Seeing that no one had any objections, Ning Qing said, after the Grand Essence Realm's boundary-protecting Grand Array is completed, the top 10 contributors will have an array talisman to enter and exit the boundary-protecting Grand Array at any time. They won't have to apply to the Dao Court every time. Although he only mentioned it briefly, Ning Qing knew that those major sects wouldn't fall behind. As for the Dao Court's future income, Ning Qing didn't mention it at all. He didn't even mention that the major sects would pay taxes. As long as the boundary-protecting Grand Array was completed, the Dao Court would control the boundary-protecting Grand Array. Ning Qing didn't care about this wealth, but it would be enough to support the Dao Court's operations. What's more, the Dao Court's business would spread throughout the entire Grand Essence Realm. Ning Qing convened the Grand Essence Realm's sect assembly as the Pill Association's association master. Because several primordial essence holy emperors from the Pill Association had come, the mysterious fairy ancient clan and Sunken Fish Palace fully supported the Pill Association, and Silver Dragon Clan's Gong Huayu was also Ning Cheng's friend. Coupled with Shuang and Shuriqing's support, this assembly didn't feel any pressure at all. Not only would Ning Qing establish the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court, but he would also become the Dao Court's first Dao Lord. One could say that this sect assembly organized by the Pill Association was a 100% success. At this time, countless alchemists gathered on the Sky Essence Public Square. Li Feng and the other 8 major sect masters personally took charge and began to collect materials. Countless sects and individuals came here to contribute materials. It wasn't that they wanted to be in the top 10 contributors, but everyone knew that if they contributed too little, it would be even more difficult to leave through the boundary protecting Grand Array in the future. If they contributed more at this time, it would be more convenient for them to leave in the future. Pill Association's Association Master Ning Qing killed Man Suatian and gained the support of 2 Dao Perfection experts to preside over the boundary protecting Grand Array. No one would think that he was talking nonsense. Sky Array Valley's Sha Su didn't participate in the material collection. Instead, he led tens of thousands of Spirit Array Masters with Ning Cheng and refined various array flags according to Ning Cheng's instructions. The Grand Essence Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array had nothing to do with the Grand Essence Realm's laws. Therefore, the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array wasn't any simpler than the Grand Change Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array. All kinds of array flags were refined and piled up on one side. Everyone knew that these array flags were used to arrange the boundary protecting Grand Array. However, no one knew what kind of protective array this was. Even Sha Su didn't know what this boundary protecting Grand Array was. Only one person guided and controlled the arrangement of this boundary protecting Grand Array, and that was Pill Association's Association Master Ning Cheng. Chapter 1133. Ever since Ning Cheng became the Dao Lord of the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court and announced the arrangement of the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection Grand Array, the Grand Essence Realm had never been so united. Almost every day, people rushed to Heaven Essence Sacred City to donate materials. Almost every day, Spirit Array Masters and some powerhouses came to Heaven Essence Sacred City, asking to contribute to the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection Grand Array. There was another legend in the Grand Essence Realm. The reason why the Grand Change Realm's laws were complete, apart from a powerful boundary protection treasure, was because of the Grand Change Realm's boundary protection Grand Array. At that time, the boundary protection Grand Array blocked some of the attacks, allowing the Grand Change Realm to remain safe and sound under the protection of the boundary protection treasure. Because of this, everyone realized how important it was for the Grand Essence Realm to have a top-grade boundary protection Grand Array. As for the person in charge of arranging the boundary protection Grand Array, Pill Association Master Ning Cheng gained more and more respect from the Grand Essence Realm's cultivators. This respect wasn't just because Ning Cheng was the Dao Lord of the Grand Essence Dao Court, nor was it because Ning Cheng presided over the arrangement of the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection Grand Array. It was because Ning Cheng personally took out a Xiantian weapon and prepared to use this Xiantian weapon to suppress the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection Grand Array. Even a single Khanate artifact would be far more valuable than all of the materials that they had brought out. Ning Cheng was so selfless that it would be hard not to respect him. If anyone were to ask themselves honestly, if they had a Khanate treasure, they would definitely not take it out to suppress the boundary protection array. Under such preconditions, anyone who tried to stop Ning Cheng from arranging the barrier protecting Grand Array, or anyone who disobeyed Ning Cheng on the surface, wouldn't even need Ning Cheng to say anything. Ning Cheng did take out a Xiantian weapon to suppress the boundary protection Grand Array. This Xiantian weapon was the Mountain River Dipper that he hadn't refined yet. Taking out this Mountain River Dipper was because Ning Cheng already had a treasure. Secondly, once Feng Xian came looking for him, he would become the enemy of the entire Grand Essence Realm. Ning Cheng didn't intend to give the Mountain River Dipper to the people around him. If he took out this thing without a certain level of strength, it would only provoke hatred and make him die faster. Because he needed to suppress the boundary protection Grand Array, he directly handed the Mountain River Dipper to Shuaying and Shuriqing to help him refine the Dao consciousness within it. Shuaying and Shuriqing were both Dao integration experts. No matter how strong the Dao consciousness left by Feng Xian was, it would not be able to withstand their joint refinement. Ning Cheng brought out the magnanimity of the Mountain and River Dipper, which also won the appreciation of Shuaying and Shuriqing. Although both of them were Dao integration powerhouses, even if they had a treasure like the Mountain and River Dipper, they probably wouldn't be willing to take it out to suppress the Grand Essence Realm's protective array. In fact, Ning Cheng didn't just take out a Mountain River Dipper to suppress the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection Grand Array. He also took out a bead. This pearl was the innate dragon pearl he obtained from Mansuatian. He only said that he took out the mountain river dipper, but he didn't say that he also took out an innate dragon pearl to suppress the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection grand array. Ning Qing was going to make the Grand Essence Realm his lair, so how could he be careless about it? Taking out the innate dragon bead as one of the array cores of the Grand Array Protecting Array was to completely control the Grand Essence Realm's Grand Array Protecting Array in his hands. As for the mountain and river dipper, even if Shuang and Shiqing erased their Tao consciousness, Ning Qing was still the one presiding over the Grand Array. Therefore, he could leave behind his spiritual sense and Tao consciousness. Moreover, he could leave it openly. Everyone knew that Ning Qing presided over the Boundary Protection Grand Array. Therefore, he had to leave behind his spiritual sense and Tao consciousness in the array core. The current Grand Essence Realm looked very stable, and everyone seemed to be busy with the Boundary Protection Grand Array. Lu Jieshan consciously moved out of Heaven Essence Sacred City. As for Fei Feng, Ning Qing didn't plan to look for him. When Qi Shixingsing returned in the future, he would leave Fei Feng's matters to Qi Shixingsing. Since the Star Stepping Tower Master disappeared from Heaven Essence Sacred City, the Tao Court's people decided to change the Star Stepping Tower in Heaven Essence Sacred City into a rest stop for the Tao Court. It had been 5 years since Ning Qing presided over the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array. On this day, almost everyone in the Grand Essence Realm focused on the void outside the Grand Essence Realm. Everyone knew that if nothing unexpected happened, the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array would close today. In other words, the Boundary Protection Grand Array would be completed today. Bursts of rumbling sounds came from the void in the distance. The rumbling sounds grew more and more oppressive, and the spatial fluctuations in the void grew more and more intense. Kacha, finally, almost everyone in the Grand Essence Realm cheered. This sound signified that the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array had finally closed. In the future, if anyone wanted to come to the Grand Essence Realm, they wouldn't be able to do so without the permission of the Grand Essence Realm's Tao Court. The Grand Essence Realm would no longer be a back garden that others could come and go as they pleased. Why does it feel like something's wrong? The moment the Boundary Protection Grand Array closed, someone spoke up in doubt. I also noticed it. It seems that my perception of the Tao sense of heaven and earth has become clearer. A Tao Essence Holy Emperor at the second step Tao confirming realm sneered when he heard this. The Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws have shattered, and the Tao charm of heaven and earth is constantly dissipating. Now that the Boundary Protection Grand Array is complete, the dissipation speed of the Tao charm of heaven and earth laws has instantly weakened. Cultivating and comprehending it naturally can't be compared to before. Sigh, I didn't expect that after the Boundary Protection Grand Array was set up, the Tao charm of heaven and earth laws of the Grand Essence Realm would inevitably dissipate. Maybe one day, the Grand Essence Realm will really shatter and disintegrate. Another cultivator who understood the same thing said with a sigh. There were many broken planets in the void. Some of them were formed by meteorite impacts, and some were formed because the Tao charm of the planets gradually dissipated. In the end, the planets would turn into lifeless meteorites. The Tao Essence Holy Emperor who spoke before shook his head. There's no other way. Unless someone can repair the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws. If you want to repair the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws. Speaking until here, even he couldn't go on. Ning Qing stood in the void on the newly built Void Plaza outside the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array. He actually set up the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array. Moreover, all the movements of this Grand Array were under his control. Congratulations Tao Lord, congratulations Association Master Ning, many Spirit Array Masters and some Primordial Essence Holy Emperors who participated in setting up the array came up to congratulate Ning Qing. Then, they congratulated each other. No matter who participated in setting up this level of Boundary Protection Grand Array, it was an extremely glorious thing. Ning Qing cupped his fists and congratulated them while sighing inwardly. Only he knew that this Boundary Protection Grand Array hadn't been fully set up. If it had been fully set up, it would have taken another few decades. However, Ning Cheng was already very satisfied. No matter who entered the Grand Essence Realm from any place, they would be blocked by the array formation. Only with the consent of the Grand Essence Realm could one enter the Grand Essence Realm. The Grand Essence Realm was no longer a place where one could come and go as they pleased. Perhaps this boundary protection Grand Array couldn't block third-step Dao confirming powerhouses, but Ning Cheng estimated that it shouldn't have any problems blocking Feng Xian. He originally wanted to set up the boundary protection Grand Array to deal with Feng Xian. The number of array masters and powerhouses who participated in setting up the boundary protection Grand Array added up to hundreds of thousands. After several years of hard work by hundreds of thousands of us, we finally set up the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection Grand Array. I would like to thank all the Dao friends who participated in setting up the array. Thank you. The glory of completing the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection Grand Array belongs to each and every one of us from the Grand Essence Realm. Ning Cheng expressed his sincere gratitude. With this boundary protection Grand Array, he now had a real foothold in the Grand Essence Realm. Void Star Sect. As a mysterious sect, very few people knew the details of the Void Star Sect. If Ning Cheng hadn't refined the sky-replenishing vein bone pill for the Void Star Sect's ancestor Kong, not many people would have known that the Void Star Sect had a Dao Perfection powerhouse. At this time, in the depths of the Void Star Sect, an old man sat on a chair with a frown. Several Void Star Sect cultivators stood on both sides. Wu Bufeng, with a dark face and a pair of slender eyes hanging on his forehead, stood on the left side of the old man. As for Ning Cheng's familiar friend, Percy, he wasn't here. After a long time, the old man spoke up, "Have the things been sent away?" Wu Bufeng quickly bowed and said, replying to the old ancestor, "Percy has already sent them away, including 3 high-rank spirit veins and various array materials." The old man called Old Ancestor was the Void Star Sect's Dao Perfection powerhouse, Ancestor Kong, whom Ning Cheng had rescued. However, Ancestor Kang's current strength was no longer the same as when he had been poisoned. Dao runes circulated around him, making him many times stronger than Wu Bufeng, who stood beside him. Ancestor Kong took in a deep breath and said slowly, "Send 10 times the amount." Ah! Wu Bufeng didn't feel anything wrong, but the rest of the people exclaimed in disbelief. 10 times the amount, that was equivalent to 30 spirit veins. How many array materials would that add up to? Ancestor Kong sighed, "I sense the Grand Essence Realm's realm protecting Grand Array closing up. Even I can't break this realm protecting Grand Array. In other words, even if I want to leave the Grand Essence Realm, I would need Ning Cheng's permission." When Ancestor Kong said this, everyone fell silent. Ancestor Kang's strength had already recovered infinitely and was about to return to its peak. If Ancestor Kong said that he couldn't break the array and leave, then who else could? Wu Bufeng frowned slightly, feeling a little regretful. Back in the Grand Essence ruins, he had done something wrong. But who knew that Ning Cheng, a mere Dao sculpting holy emperor, could rise to such a terrifying level? "Bufeng, do you have anything to say?" Ancestor Kong immediately saw Wu Bufeng's frown and asked. Wu Bufeng also sighed, "We offended him in the past and even threatened him. I'm afraid that this person will bear a grudge." Ancestor Kong showed a slight smile, "This Ning Cheng will definitely bear a grudge. Just look at his style of doing things. But my Void Star Sect isn't afraid of him. I heard that he will hold a second sect meeting after the array closes up, right?" "Yes." Wu Bufeng quickly replied. Ancestor Kong nodded, "Our Void Star Sect didn't participate in the first one, but I will lead the team to participate in the second one." Chapter 1134. In the Boundless Palace, Feng Xian held a jade strip with a murderous look on his face. An ant not only snatched his mountain river dipper but also refined a trace of his Dao consciousness spiritual sense. Ning Cheng's origin was vague in the jade strip, but Ning Cheng's whereabouts were clear. After Ning Cheng escaped from the Boundless Palace, he didn't go far. Instead, he continued to disguise himself as a rogue cultivator and snatched the wood origin bead from the fallen wood temple. After that, the void markets that Ning Cheng suspected of passing through were listed one after another, all the way to the Five Realms Void Markets. After the Five Realms Void Market, Ning Cheng's whereabouts were unknown, and no other void markets indicated that Ning Cheng had been there. If there was only this piece of information, Feng Xian could only confirm that Ning Cheng most likely came from the Five Grand Realms. But then another piece of news made Feng Xian sure that Ning Cheng came from the Grand Essence Realm. Ning Cheng was one of the top 3 in the Five Realms pill competition, and there were hundreds of millions of people with the same name in the void. However, both of them used spears, which made Feng Xian sure that Ning Cheng had either gone to the Grand Change Realm or the Grand Essence Realm. And the news from the Grand Change Realm that Ning Cheng had fallen made Feng Xian sure that Ning Cheng had gone to the Grand Essence Realm. How long will it take to get to the Grand Essence Realm from the Boundless Palace? Feng Xian put the jade strip on the jade table in front of him and asked in a calm tone. The pretty female cultivator standing in front of him said respectfully, "If we use all the resources of the Boundless Palace, we can reach the Grand Essence Realm in less than 2 years. If we use the teleportation array in the void markets, it will take about 5 years. From now on, use all resources and head to the Grand Essence Realm as fast as possible." Feng Xian stood up and said without hesitation. He was afraid, not of Ning Cheng, but of the Grand Change Realm's powerhouses. Ning Cheng must have something coveted, which was why he was being chased in the Grand Change Realm. Otherwise, the news of Ning Cheng's death in the Grand Change Realm wouldn't have spread. Once the Grand Change Realm's powerhouses reached the Grand Essence Realm first, Feng Xian wouldn't have a share of the wood origin bead. Even his mountain river dipper might not be able to find it. Although he was a Dao integration expert, he could not dominate the Great Change Realm. The Great Change Realm could even prevent him from entering the boundary. "Do you want to issue an order to gather together or not?" The pretty-looking female cultivator quickly bowed and asked. Feng Xian pondered for a moment and then said, "The Grand Essence Realm is very broken, and there are only a few Dao integration experts, no more than a handful. These Dao integration cultivators probably didn't have the time to care about a mere Dao actualization Divine Emperor. What's more, I'm guessing that there's only one person who can really make a move, and I, Feng Xian, don't take this person seriously. Let's go to the Grand Essence Realm and take Ning Cheng away. There's no need to ask for help from fellow Taoists." The pretty-looking female cultivator cautiously said, "The Grand Essence Realm doesn't have a protective array, so you can come and go as you please. I'm not worried about the Grand Essence Realm. I'm worried about the people from the Grand Change Realm. If they also send people to the Grand Essence Realm, I'm afraid that our Boundless Realm Palace would suffer a loss." Hearing this, Feng Xian nodded solemnly, You're right. You go over first. I'll personally stay behind to issue the Boundless Palace's recruitment order and gather fellow Taoists from all over to help. As soon as you succeed, send me a message immediately." "Yes, but Palace Master, it won't be a problem for my Boundless Palace to gather fellow Taoists from all over the world. I'm worried that once we gather so many people, we'll have to travel a long distance to the Grand Essence Realm." Without waiting for the pretty-looking female cultivator to finish speaking, Feng Xian chuckled, "Don't worry about it here. My Boundless Palace can still come up with this reward. What's more, I'm not going to the Grand Essence Realm this time to give rewards to others. I'm inviting everyone to look for opportunities together. Although the Grand Essence Realm is broken, it's still one of the 5 Grand Realms. As long as we flip the Grand Essence Realm upside down, I believe we can dig out some treasures." "Ah." The pretty-looking female cultivator looked at her boss in shock. She never expected the Palace Master to be so ambitious. He wanted to rob a realm. This was simply heaven-defying. But, those Dao integration experts. The pretty-looking female cultivator couldn't help but speak up. Feng Xian sneered, "As far as I know, there are only 4 or 5 Dao integration experts in the Grand Essence Realm. I heard that old man Qing Lan has long since left the Grand Essence Realm. Kang Shushan suffered from one of the 10 poisons in the world, the tattoo bone poison, hundreds of thousands of years ago. Unless Mu Zuoxiao helps him with alchemy, he won't be able to cure it. He can't even go to the Grand Change Realm, let alone ask Mu Zuoxiao to help him with alchemy. What's more, even if he begged, Ao Beijiang would slap him to death. At this point, he paused for a moment before continuing, Shuriqing is just a woman. I heard that she damaged her essence spirit in the process of her 9 soul revolutions. I'm afraid she won't be able to survive the second Tao integration blight in this life. I can easily kill a woman like her. The only thing I have to worry about is Shuang. I heard that Shuang began to cross the second heaven's blight tens of thousands of years ago. I don't know if he crossed it or if he's still in the middle of it. It's not a problem. When the pretty female cultivator heard this, she quickly said, I heard that the barbarian dragon clan of the Grand S&C was one of the top 10 dragon clans of the Grand S&C. The barbarian dragon clan also had a Tao integration holy emperor, Man Suotian. Feng Xian nodded. Man Suotian is indeed a Tao integration holy emperor, but he's a monster. As long as we give him enough benefits, even if the Grand Essence realm tumbles a few more times, he will only help and won't object. So, we don't have to worry about Man Suotian. We can even use the barbarian dragon clan to join forces with him. You go to the Grand Essence realm first and bring me a voice transmission jade slip to Man Suotian. Yes. The pretty female cultivator bowed and responded. Man Suotian nodded. Where did the 2 women with the wood origin bead go? Have you found out? The pretty female cultivator said, I've found out, and I'm about to report it to the palace master. According to the spatial fluctuations of Fallen Wood Temple and the testimonies of some cultivators who were nearby at the time, they most likely went to heavens beyond. When Feng Xian heard this, he suddenly stood up and asked in surprise, You're saying that they can teleport to heavens beyond outside the plane through an array disk? That's right, the pretty female cultivator responded. Feng Xian took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, no matter how much it costs, we have to go to heavens beyond and bring those 2 women to the boundless palace. At this point, Feng Xian raised his hand and threw out 2 messages. After a while, 2 figures quickly walked in. One of them was strong, while the other was thin. Upon seeing the 2 people come in, Feng Xian said, Feng Qi, go to heavens beyond with 11. Bring the 2 women with the wood origin bead to the boundless palace. Anyone who tries to stop you will be killed without mercy. The 2 people in front of him were called Feng Qi and Feng Shi. They were both Feng Xian's younger brothers. Feng Qi was at the late stage primordial chaos, while Feng Shi was at the mid-stage primordial Tao. But the price? Feng Qi said with some worry. Even for the boundless palace, it was not easy to cross the plane to heavens beyond. There was no teleportation array between heavens beyond and this side of the void. Because of this, Feng Xian was shocked when he heard that there was a teleportation array disk that could teleport to heavens beyond. Bring those 2 women here at all costs, Feng Xian said with a wave of his hand. Ning Qing sat in the throne room of the Heaven Essence Sacred City's Tao Court. The sect masters of the 10 major sects were all here. In addition to the sect masters of the 10 major sects, almost all the famous sects, families, forces, and even rogue cultivators in the Great Essence realm had come here. Ning Qing knew that the sect masters of the 10 great sects, even if they were the 10 court pillars of the Tao court, only sat here to discuss things with him and not to listen to his orders. However, Ning Qing still felt like he was the king of the world. Shuang and Shuriqing did not come to this meeting. Instead, another Tao integration holy emperor, Ancestor Kang of the Void Star sect, came. Ning Qing did not receive this Tao integration holy emperor alone. The Void Star sect was a typical despicable sect. If he was not the Tao court's Tao lord, Ning Qing really did not want to meet this sect. Everyone in the Tao court's throne room looked happy because Ning Qing had fulfilled his original promise. He took hundreds of thousands of people to set up the Great Essence Realm's boundary protection array. According to the conditions of the 2 Tao integration holy emperors, Ning Qing would establish the Grand Essence Tao court after setting up the boundary protection array. Ning Qing would also become the first Tao lord of the Grand Essence Tao court. In fact, this was just a ceremony. The Tao court of the Grand Essence realm had already existed when they started to set up the boundary protection array. Ning Qing was also excited, not because he was the Tao Court's Tao Lord, but because he had finally completed his first plan in 5 years. The Great Essence Realm's boundary protection array was completed, and the Grand Essence Tao Court was established. This meant that the strength of the Grand Essence Realm had been condensed. In the future, if Feng Xian found the Grand Essence Realm, he would also have the qualifications to talk to Feng Xian. In the past 5 years, his cultivation did not make much progress. But because he led many people to set up the boundary protection array, his attainment in the Tao of Arrays had reached a new level. Today, my Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection array is finally completed. Thank you to everyone who contributed to the boundary protection array. From today onwards, anyone who wants to come to my Grand Essence Realm must first seek my Grand Essence Realm's permission. As everyone knows, the core of my Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection array is a Xiantian artifact, the Mountain River Dipper. Ning Qing deliberately paused. Sure enough, after hearing the words Mountain River Dipper, everyone held their breath and listened to Ning Cheng's next words. I took the Mountain River Dipper from a man named Feng Yu. At that time, Feng Yu wanted to kill me, but he didn't want me to take the Mountain River Dipper. Feng Yu is nothing to worry about. He has a backer, the Palace Master of the Boundless Palace, Feng Xian. When Ning Qing mentioned Feng Xian, many people's expressions changed slightly. Obviously, more than one person knew Feng Xian. Feng Xian is famous throughout the void. I believe many people here know him. He's also a Tao Perfection Holy Emperor. Tao Lord, Feng Xian is indeed a Tao Perfection Holy Emperor. Now that my Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection array is complete, even if he comes here, my Grand Essence Realm will not be afraid of him. To Ning Cheng's surprise, the first person to stand up to support him was Desolate Spirit Palace's Xiao Luojin. In fact, not only did Xiao Luojin understand Ning Cheng's meaning, but almost everyone else also understood Ning Cheng's meaning. Ning Cheng honestly spoke the truth and didn't arouse the disgust of many people. First, Ning Cheng was a Tao Lord. Second, Ning Cheng didn't keep the Mountain River Dipper for himself. Instead, he used it to suppress the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection array. One could say that the Mountain River Dipper was for the entire Grand Essence Realm to use. Chapter 1135. As soon as Xiao Luojin expressed his stance, the rest of the people also stood up. Apart from some people who really didn't care about Feng Xian's arrival, some people came for Ning Cheng, the Tao Lord. Ning Cheng was only a nominal Tao Lord and didn't have as much power as the Tao Lords of the Grand Change Realm. But there was no doubt that Ning Cheng's identity as a Tao Lord wasn't a puppet. Ning Cheng might not be able to command hundreds of people, but he would never be controlled by others. Ning Cheng also understood this. But he had never thought of becoming the ruler of a realm in the Grand Essence Realm. The reason why he spent so much energy on this was mainly to protect himself. If he could protect himself and the safety of the Grand Essence Realm, why not? Tao Lord Ning, my Void Star sect absolutely supports the Grand Essence Tao Court. If Feng Xian dares to come to the Grand Essence Realm, even if Tao Friend Shuang and Tao Friend Shiiqing can't spare the time, Kang Shushan will stand up. Ancestor Kang had long seen that Ning Cheng didn't care much about the Void Star sect, and he could see it from today's scene. One day, Ning Cheng would become a true Tao Lord of a realm. Instead of cooperating with other sects like what they were doing now. His Void Star sect missed a chance to make friends and even started a feud with Ning Cheng. If he missed this opportunity again, the Void Star sect might never have a chance to make a comeback. Missing one opportunity could be considered an accident, but if he missed 2 opportunities, he deserved to die. He, Kang Shushan, had seen the vicissitudes of life and the changes of mountains and rivers. In a short time, Ning Cheng went from a Tao sculpting cultivator to a Tao essence powerhouse, which was enough to shock everyone. Ning Cheng's luck was heaven-defying. Now, Ning Cheng led the sects of the Grand Essence Realm to complete the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection Grand Array and even became a Tao Lord of a realm's Tao Court with the support of 2 Tao Unification Holy Emperors. If he still wasn't optimistic about Ning Cheng, then he, Kang Shushan, could only be regarded as a pig. Ning Cheng was also surprised. He knew that Kang Shushan came here to participate in the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array. Kang Shushan came here to make friends. He didn't care, nor was he surprised. After the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array was set up, even Kang Shushan couldn't leave without his permission. Kang Shushan took the initiative to take on the heavy responsibility of dealing with Feng Xian, which made Ning Qing really surprised. In his opinion, Kang Shushan and the Void Star sect that Kang Shushan belonged to were a snobbish sect. This kind of sect was only willing to show the least amount of sincerity to obtain the greatest benefits. In any case, Kang Shushan was a Dao integration stage Holy Emperor. Since Kang Shushan had expressed his support for him, Ning Qing also could not continue to ignore Kang Shushan. When a Dao integration stage Holy Emperor said something like this, Ning Qing had to give him some face. Otherwise, they would become enemies. Ning Qing wasn't that stupid. He stood up and cupped his fists towards Kang Shushan. With Senior Kang's words, my Grand Essence Realm will be as stable as Mount Tai. On behalf of all the Dao friends in the Grand Essence Realm, I thank Void Star Sect's Senior Kang for his hot-blooded commitment. Seeing Ning Qing stand up, Kang Shushan felt very satisfied. He knew that Ning Qing was also able to see the facts clearly. In this case, it would be beneficial to both sides, as such there was no point in fighting with each other. With another Dao integration stage Holy Emperor supporting Ning Qing, the atmosphere in the Tai Su Imperial Palace became even more fervent. It could be said that almost all the Dao integration stage Holy Emperors in the Grand Essence Realm supported Ning Qing. The only Dao integration stage Holy Emperor who opposed the Pill Association, Man Suotian, was killed by Ning Qing. Ning Qing waited for the crowd to quiet down a little before standing up and speaking in a clear voice. I, the first Dao Lord of the Grand Essence Dao Court, Ning Qing, hereby announce to all the Dao friends in the Grand Essence Realm that the Grand Essence Dao Court has been established. The Grand Essence Realm's lawlessness will never return. The days where they could come and go as they pleased in the Grand Essence Realm were gone forever. From today onwards, my Grand Essence Realm will have lawless competition. One day, my Grand Essence Realm will return to its peak. From today onwards, my Grand Essence Realm will be guarded by every cultivator from the Grand Essence Realm. Ning Qing's voice spread out through the Grand Essence Realm's protective array. Except for those who were in seclusion, almost every corner of the Grand Essence Realm could hear Ning Qing's announcement of the establishment of the Grand Essence Dao Court. At this moment, everyone in the Grand Essence Realm celebrated. No matter what happened in the future, having the Dao Court set the rules was much better than having lawless battles. At least if they offended someone in the void, they could escape back to the Grand Essence Realm without worrying about being chased after returning to the Grand Essence Realm. This kind of thing happened too many times in the past. After the establishment of the Grand Essence Dao Court, it would never return. After Ning Qing finished speaking, the people in the Grand Essence Imperial Hall began to raise their cups in celebration. Ning Qing raised his cup and said again, "Today, with the help of the establishment of the Grand Essence Dao Court, I would like to ask a favor from all the Dao friends. Dao Lord Ning, please speak. As long as it's related to my Grand Essence Realm, it's not just about Dao Lord Ning alone, but also about all of us." 7-star Sacred Sect's Mu Yuankong rushed to speak first. Since the establishment of the Grand Essence Dao Court, Ning Qing had appointed 10 court pillars. Among the 10 court pillars, even the Heavenly Array Valley, which had just joined the top 10 sects, had a sect master as a court pillar. Only in the 7-star Sacred Sect, Mu Yuankong, the deputy sect master, was one of the 10 court pillars. Mu Yuankong and Ning Qing had no friendship at all. The only reason why Ning Qing appointed him as one of the 10 court pillars was that the Pill Association had initiated the Grand Essence Realm's sect meeting 5 years ago. The 7-star Sacred Sect had sent him, the deputy sect master, Mu Yuankong, instead of sect master Han Qianwei. Ning Qing not only appointed Mu Yuankong as one of the 10 court pillars, but he also never asked about the life and death of the 7-star Sacred Sect sect master Han Qianwei. Obviously, in the eyes of a Dao Lord like Ning Qing, Han Qianwei, who didn't attend the sect meeting, was directly ignored. In fact, When Ning Qing announced the sect meeting, the 7-star sacred sect master Han Qianwei knew about it because he had reported it. It was just that Han Qianwei had never put Ning Cheng in his eyes. In Han Qianwei's opinion, Ning Cheng was just a first-step Dao confirming ant. He wasn't qualified for Han Qianwei to support him. Han Qianwei didn't attend the sect meeting held by Ning Cheng in the name of the Pill Association. As for other things, he was too lazy to care about them. He chose to go into seclusion again to comprehend the Dao unification realm. Mu Yuankong also didn't say much. He didn't tell Han Qianwei that Ning Cheng had advanced to the Dao essence realm and even joined forces with the others to kill Man Suatian. In addition, 2 Dao unification experts supported Ning Cheng. Since Han Qianwei didn't go into seclusion, Mu Yuankong attended the sect meeting held by the Pill Association. He was pleasantly surprised that he was appointed as one of the 10 court pillars. After arranging the Boundary Protection Grand Array, Mu Yuankong knew that he was right not to tell Han Qianwei about what Ning Cheng had done. As long as he maintained a good relationship with Ning Cheng, Han Qianwei wouldn't be able to do anything to him, Mu Yuankong. After missing several opportunities to express his loyalty, Mu Yuankong quickly expressed his support for Dao Lord Ning Cheng the moment Ning Cheng said it. Ning Cheng nodded in gratitude and continued, as everyone knows, the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array has been completed. Unfortunately, the Grand Essence Realm's laws are still broken, and the Heaven and Earth Dao charm is incomplete. Not to mention the difficulty of Dao confirming and Dao fusion, even stepping into the second step is 10 times more difficult than stepping into the Grand Change Realm. This is also the reason why the number of second-step Dao confirming Holy Emperors in the Grand Essence Realm is far fewer than in the Grand Change Realm. Everyone in the hall sighed. Everyone knew that Ning Cheng was telling the truth, but no one could solve this problem. It wasn't like arranging a Boundary Protection Grand Array. As long as one's attainment in the Array Dao reached a certain level, they could unite many Array Formation Masters and accumulate time and materials. Since the laws of a top-level realm like the Grand Essence Realm were broken, there was no other way but to wait for destruction. The Void Star Sect's Dao Unification Holy Emperor Kang Shushan sighed and said, back then, several third-step Dao confirming powerhouses fought within the boundaries of the 5 great realms. Under the bombardment of good fortune treasures, only the Grand Change Realm barely managed to protect itself. The other 4 realms all shattered. Ning Cheng's heart moved and he quickly asked, Senior Kong, do you know anything about the war of that year? What good fortune treasures were there? Not only Ning Cheng, but many holy emperors in the hall also looked at Kang Shushan. Few people knew about the secret of the destruction of the 5 great realms. Most people only knew that the Grand Essence Realm was broken because of the war between powerhouses. Kang Shushan nodded, I know a little about it. At the beginning of good fortune, primordial chaos had just begun. At the beginning of good fortune, there were 5 kinds of good fortune treasures. One was the good fortune indestructible axe, the second was the good fortune jade disc, the third was the good fortune golden page, the fourth was the good fortune mysterious yellow bead, and the fifth was the good fortune green lotus. After that war, the good fortune 5 treasures were lost between heaven and earth, and many of them were never heard from again. Kang Shushan spoke with confidence. Ning Cheng knew that he had obtained the mysterious yellow bead. In addition to the good fortune treasures, there were countless Xiantian treasures and primordial chaos treasures that participated in the war. Even the good fortune treasures were shattered. Those Xiantian treasures were either smashed into pieces or fell into various major realms or the void. Fortunately, they didn't shatter. Some of them had their artifact spirits scattered, while others had their artifact spirits directly perished. When Kang Shushan said this, Ning Cheng's heart moved. His Starry Sky Wheel and Everlasting Blue Thunder Fort both lacked artifact spirits. Was it because they participated in the Good Fortune War? Kang Shushan glanced at Ning Cheng and said, the mountain and river dipper that Dao Lord Ning obtained is actually a treasure that participated in the Good Fortune War. It's one of the few lucky Xiantian treasures. I heard that the artifact spirit only fell into a deep sleep. This kind of Xiantian treasure is the best choice to suppress the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array. Many thanks, Senior Kong, for dispelling my doubts. Ning Qing thanked him. Kang Shushan told him a lot of secrets, which he had never heard before. Li Feng suddenly asked, Brother Kang, may I ask if the Chaos Tree also participated in that battle? Kang Shushan nodded. The Chaos Tree is the only one in the world. It's a treasure that doesn't lose out to any good fortune treasure. This tree did participate in that war. But in that war, the Chaos Tree also fell apart and scattered throughout the void. If someone can find a fragment of the Chaos Tree, they would have unlimited achievements. After a pause, Kang Shushan continued, things like the Chaos Tree and the good fortune treasures all have their own origin spirit. Before they perish, they would find a place to hide or leave their inheritance. I heard that the Chaos Tree was broken in the Grand Beginning Realm, while the Good Fortune Indestructible Axe was broken in the Void. I'm afraid that the Good Fortune Indestructible Axe didn't hide because its owner was too unyielding. As a result, the Good Fortune Indestructible Axe turned into countless fragments like its owner. Chapter 1136. Kang Shushan smiled at Ning Cheng, that's all I know. Dao Lord Ning, please get to the main point. Ning Qing nodded and continued, the reason why I said that the Grand Essence Realm's laws are broken is because I wonder if I can repair the Grand Essence Realm and rebuild the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws. As soon as Ning Cheng's words came out, it immediately caused an uproar. Ning Qing said that he would arrange the number 1 defensive array in the Grand Essence Realm, which was a bit of a stretch. However, restoring the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws and perfecting the Grand Essence Realm was too unrealistic. It didn't make sense at all. Although everyone was talking noisily, Ning Qing did not interrupt them. Those who were able to sit in this Dao Court's throne room were all reputable figures. They were either sect leaders or overlords of a region. The discussion didn't last long before the throne room quietened down. Whether Ning Qing was in charge or not, at least Ning Cheng was still a Dao Lord. Dao Lord Ning, although I know that your idea is good, and it's also for the sake of my Grand Essence Realm, at least this matter is a bit out of bounds. River Luo Sacred Sect Master Wang Huazhong said with cupped fists. The small rift between River Luo Sacred Sect and Ning Qing mainly originated from Tong Mingzi and his disciple. Now that Shuang was optimistic about Ning Qing, Tong Mingzi was nothing but a fart. Naturally, Wang Huazhong would not care about Tong Mingzi. What he meant was that he was on the side of the Dao Court. Ning Qing spoke up in a very serious tone, what Wang Tingzhu said makes sense. Everything depends on one's own effort. My current strength is still far from being able to repair a world. If I don't want to do this because I'm not strong enough, then the Grand Essence Realm will never have a chance to be restored. Only by preparing to do it could it be repaired. If you're not prepared to do it and think it's impossible, then you'll never be able to achieve it. After hearing Ning Cheng's words, many Saint Emperors stood up and expressed their support for Ning Cheng's decision. Although Ning Cheng's idea might be unrealistic, but there was one thing that Ning Qing did not say wrong, that is, if you do not prepare to do it, then you will never be able to accomplish it. Only by doing it could one possibly accomplish something. It was just like setting up the sacred Dao World's Realm Protection Grand Array. Even without Ning Cheng, if someone took the lead, if 5 years were not enough, they could use 50 years, 500 years, or even 550,000 years to set up the Realm Protection Grand Array. It was just that no one had ever done it, which was why the Great Boundary Protection Array was still there. Ning Cheng's idea might never succeed, but the Grand Essence Realm needed a goal. The goal proposed by Ning Cheng was suitable for everyone to work towards. My Flaming Feather God Mountain supports Dao Lord Ning's decision. Peng Qiyuan quickly stood up and echoed. Ning Cheng had some friendship with his son Peng Shan and daughter Peng Ruimei. Ning Cheng had even specifically asked about Peng Shan's whereabouts. At this time, he naturally had to stand up and support Ning Cheng. The Silver Dragon clan supports Dao Lord Ning's decision. Gong Wu, who hadn't had the chance to express her opinion, stood up now. Then, the sect masters of the Empyrean Extreme Island, the Big Dipper's 7 Peaks, the Purple Fog Immortal Valley, and many other sects stepped forward to express their support. Even some sects who were unhappy with Ning City expressed their support. It wasn't like he would lose a piece of meat if he spoke. After thanking him, Ning Qing continued, to repair a big interface like the Grand Essence Realm, you will need the Chaos Tree and the World Mountain. Just now, Senior Kong also said that the Chaos Tree had shattered in the Grand Beginning Realm. Finding the Grand Essence Realm to repair it was simply unrealistic. Even if we can find the Chaos Tree, the cultivators of the Great Beginning Realm won't let us use it to repair their realm. As for the World Mountain, I'm afraid no one knows where it is. Ning Qing didn't know where the World Mountain was. However, Ning Qing had some clues about the World Mountain. He had gone to the Grand Change Realm's Shallow Cloud Villa and obtained a model of the World Mountain. Later, he saved and sent and the others away in a hurry and didn't have time to ask about the World Mountain model. From this, it could be seen that the World Mountain and the Shallow Cloud Villa had a relationship. Whether it belonged to or not, it had something to do with I learned from Court Pillar Li that there is another way to repair the Grand Essence Realm apart from the World Mountain and the Chaos Tree. It is to gather the Chaos 5 Earths, Breath Earth, Stable Earth, Gung Earth, Release Earth, Balance Earth, and 5 elements Spirit Water. Because the Grand Essence Nether Realm is broken, it no longer has the Reincarnation Tao. Therefore, we need the 7 Bridges Realm book to repair the Grand Essence Nether Realm. We can't get the 5 elements Spirit Water, but I have the 7 Bridges Realm book. I'm willing to take out the 7 Bridges Realm book to repair the Grand Essence Nether Realm and perfect the Reincarnation Tao. The mysterious fairy ancient clan has the life ring, and Patriarch Li is also willing to take it out. Even if we don't have the 5 elements Spirit Water, if we can get the Chaos 5 Earths, I believe that the Grand Essence Realm can be repaired. At least, it would be much better than it is now. Previously, many people didn't care about it. Even if they stood up to support Ning Qing, it was just lip service. But now, Ning Qing was willing to take out the 7 Bridges Realm book to repair the Reincarnation Tao, and Li Feng was willing to take out the life ring. This kind of noble sentiment truly moved everyone. Putting themselves in their shoes, if these 2 things were in their hands, would they be willing to take them out? Before, Ning Qing had taken out the mountain and river dipper. After all, he had the idea of taking out a calamity. But now that Ning Qing took out the 7 Bridges Realm book, it didn't mean anything different. What made everyone feel even more incredible was Patriarch Li Feng from the bottom of their hearts. The reason why the mysterious fairy ancient clan could become one of the top 10 sects and hide for so many years without losing its reputation was all because of the life ring. Now, Patriarch Li Feng was even willing to take out the life ring to repair the Grand Essence Realm. What could be more convincing and respectful than this? For a moment, everyone in the Dao Court's throne room stood up. Everyone felt shocked by Ning Qing and Li Feng's decision, but at the same time, they also felt grateful for the two's decision. Many people had guessed that Ning Qing had the 7 Bridges Realm book, but no one had expected Ning Qing to take out the 7 Bridges Realm book. It's difficult for us to get the 5 elements Spirit Water, but I believe that we can get the Chaos 5 Earths through hard work. One person is weak, but many people are strong. I would like to ask all Dao friends to help us find the Chaos 5 Earths. My Grand Essence Realm must find the Chaos 5 Earths at all costs. Moreover, now that I have the 7th Earths, I only lack the remaining 4 Earths. After Ning Qing said this sentence, almost all the people expressed their heartfelt support for him. Ning Qing and Li Feng had taken out such a precious thing. If they had to think twice about finding the Chaos 5 Earths, it would truly be too much. Besides, Ning Qing had already found the 7th Earths, so what else was there to say? Ning Qing finally felt relieved. The primal Chaos 5 soils were different from the 5 elements origin beads. Song Wei had told him that since he possessed the mysterious yellow bead, he had an innate attraction towards the origin bead. As such, he could always obtain news about the origin bead. Moreover, the primal Chaos 5 soils were not something necessary to complete the mysterious yellow bead. As such, the probability of him encountering these 5 soils was no different from that of an ordinary person. As for taking the initiative to admit that he had Gung soil, Ning Qing already had a plan. Li Feng was not the only one who knew that Man Suatian had Gung soil on him. Since he killed Man Suatian, the Gung soil should be on him. If he took the initiative to say it, he would appear even more open and aboveboard, as if he was sincerely working to perfect the Grand Essence Realm's laws. Tao Lord, I know where Shi-Yang is. More than 100,000 years ago, I went to a void city called the Thousand Ren Void City. Qianlong Void City had once auctioned a piece of released soil. At that time, a man with the surname Lei had bought it. I only remember that he had narrow eyes, a square face, and wore a green robe. After so many years, I don't know if this information is useful or not. The patriarch of the Silver Dragon clan, Gong Wu, stood up and said. Ning Qing couldn't help but admit that the older these people were, the more they knew about these things. Many thanks, Court Pillar Gong. I will definitely go to the Thousand Ren Void City in the future. Ning Qing stood up and thanked him. The person who bought Shi-Yang and dared to reveal his surname was definitely a powerhouse, most likely a Tao Perfection powerhouse. This kind of person came and went openly, without any fear of anyone doing anything to him. What they wanted was this kind of momentum, this kind of Tao heart without any psychological barriers. Ning Cheng's cultivation was low, but when his cultivation reached a high level in the future, he would never change his appearance. Even if his cultivation was low, after reaching Tao confirming, he rarely changed his name unless it was a last resort. There was a sense of a real man who would not change his name or his surname when he was in a situation. This was also a kind of silent and subtle influence on his Tao runes of the Great Tao. After a long time, it naturally formed a kind of momentum and self-confidence. When comprehending the Tao runes and spirit techniques, it would become much more rounded. Just as Kang Shushan had said about the owner of the Good Fortune Indestructible Axe, the owner of the Good Fortune Indestructible Axe could participate in the Good Fortune War. Needless to say, he was also an expert among experts. Would such an expert be stupid? Of course not. The reason why he had that kind of toughness and directness was because of his own great Tao. Maybe he could retreat, but what about after that? If his cultivation was low, he would still have room to retreat. At their level, retreating might be tantamount to being finished. It was a kind of tactfulness, but this kind of tactfulness didn't apply to experts standing at the top. Whatever they say, it doesn't matter if you admit it or not. As for going to the Thousand Thunder Void City, Ning Qing wasn't just talking about it. Even after more than 100,000 years, if the auction still existed, this person could still be found, let alone a person who didn't change his surname. What does Tao Lord think of Grand Essence Mountain? River Luo Sacred Sect Master Wang Huazhong also stood up. Some people had already noticed that whether it was Gong Wu or Wang Huazhong, when they addressed Ning Cheng, they consciously removed the ning from the front. From this, it could be seen that their recognition of Tao Lord Ning Cheng had grown much stronger than before. Grand Essence Mountain. I know. This is the first sacred mountain sealed in the Grand Essence realm. Ning Cheng nodded and replied. After coming to the Grand Essence realm for so long, he naturally wasn't unfamiliar with the Grand Essence Mountain. Grand Essence Mountain was ranked first among the 10 famous mountains of the Grand Essence realm, slightly better than River Luo Sacred Sect's River Luo Mountain. It's just that Grand Essence Mountain was discovered late. All the major sects wanted it, but no one could get it. So they directly sealed it. Later, it became the Grand Essence Mountain Sacred Territory, just like the extraterritorial Spirit Spring. Every 1,000 years, a group of genius disciples would be selected to enter the Grand Essence Mountain Sacred Territory for cultivation. Ning Cheng, as a Tao Lord, has not received any benefits, but has made such a great contribution to my Grand Essence realm. I, Wang Huazhong, represent River Luo Sacred Sect. Only Pale Sage Ning can live in Grand Essence Mountain. Wang Huazhong spoke with a clear voice. The way he addressed Ning Cheng clearly expressed his intention. Chapter 1137. If Wang Huazhong had not mentioned the Grand Essence Mountain, only a few people would have thought of it. Now that Wang Huazhong mentioned the Grand Simplicity Mountain, everyone remembered the Grand Simplicity Mountain surpassing domain. While some of the sect masters were secretly cursing Wang Huazhong for being shameless, they were also secretly blaming themselves for not thinking of this matter earlier. This was a sentence that would allow one to gain Ning Cheng's friendship without paying anything in return. I support sect leader Wang's decision. I also support, it didn't matter if they fell behind, but now that they supported Ning Cheng, they must not fall behind again. If they fell behind again, they feared that they would not be able to gain Ning Cheng's friendship, but would instead cause Ning Cheng to feel some knots in his heart. In any case, the Grand Essence Mountain did not belong to any sect. Moreover, the cultivation of the Grand Essence Mountain's surpassing boundary was only limited to those below the Dao sculpting realm. Even if a Dao confirming cultivator entered the Grand Essence Mountain's surpassing boundary to cultivate, the effect would still be the same. In a place like the Grand Essence Mountain, apart from Dao Lord Ning Cheng, no one could move their sect there. Since he knew he couldn't get it, he might as well generously give it away. Ning Cheng was not only a Dao Lord of the Grand Essence Dao Court, but he also single-handedly guided the arrangement of the Grand Essence Realm's protective Grand Array. Not to mention the innate treasure Mountain River Dipper, just the fact that Ning Cheng was willing to take out the Seven Bridges Realm Book and Gung Soil made it so that no one would feel jealous of Ning Cheng living in the uninhabited Grand Essence Mountain. Hearing that so many people agreed to let him live in the Grand Essence Mountain, Ning Cheng felt happy in his heart. To be honest, after the Dao Court's meeting ended, he would most likely have to find a place to stay in the Grand Essence realm. Otherwise, where would the people of stately River Star live after moving here? Besides Luofei and Ruolan, it was impossible for everyone to enter his mysterious yellow bead, right? Now that Wang Huazhong proposed to give him the Grand Essence Mountain, it really was a pleasant surprise. Ning Cheng had never been to the Grand Simplicity Mountain, but he had heard about it too many times. A radius of hundreds of thousands of miles might not be much in terms of area, but it could only be considered ordinary in the Grand Essence realm. However, the Grand Essence Mountain's spirit chi, topographical location, and the beautiful scenery made it an excellent choice for the sect. Not to mention that Ning City was a top-notch array formation master. Even if an ordinary sect went to the Grand Essence Mountain, they could easily turn it into the best location for their sect. Many thanks, fellow Taoists. If I continue to decline, it would be unreasonable of me. From today onwards, the Grand Essence Mountain will be my private residence. Ning Cheng sincerely thanked him. He had been putting in so much effort, and now he finally had a little bit of return. Moreover, this return was something that Ning Cheng desperately needed. The establishment of the Taisu Dao Court was perfect. It could be said that 90% of the sect leaders who participated in the establishment of the Taisu Dao Court returned with satisfaction. Many sects began to set up branches in the Heaven Essence Sacred City and set up merchant houses. Heaven Essence Sacred City was originally the premier sacred city in the Grand Essence realm. But now that the Grand Essence Dao Court had established itself in Heaven Essence Sacred City, countless powerhouses flocked to this place to set up their sects' encampments. Heaven Essence Sacred City once again expanded without limit. As for the expansion of the Heaven Essence Sacred City's defensive array formation, Sha Su of Heavenly Array Valley completed it. As for Ning Cheng, he had already left for the Grand Essence Mountains. The Pill Union was located in the Heaven Essence Sacred City, but Ning Cheng didn't bring anyone from the Pill Union with him. He decided to head to the Heaven Essence Mountains alone. He naturally wouldn't be like the Dao Lords of the Grand Change World Dao Court, who had to hold a Dao Court assembly every few days. As a Dao Lord, he would only summon the sect masters of the major sects to discuss important matters in the Grand Essence realm. Usually, he only had the title of Dao Lord. What puzzled Ning Cheng was that he hadn't received any news from Sword Tri-Mountain. It stood to reason that he had led the array formation masters of the Grand Essence realm to complete the arrangement of the Grand Essence realm's boundary protecting Grand Array and become the new Dao Lord of the Grand Essence Dao Court. Sword Tri-Mountain should have received the news a long time ago. However, Ning Cheng still resisted the urge to use the power of the Dao Court to find Sword Tri-Mountain. If Sword Tri-Mountain had his own matters, it wouldn't be good for him to use the Dao Court to find him. Moreover, although he was a Dao Lord, there weren't many people in the Grand Essence realm who truly supported him wholeheartedly. Most of the sects were forced by the situation, while some of them felt that Ning Cheng had truly contributed a lot to the Grand Essence realm. If he thought that the Grand Essence Tao Court belonged to him and used the Tao Court to do things for him from the beginning, it would be akin to asking for trouble. This place is really beautiful. Yan Ji stood next to Ning Cheng and looked at the Grand Essence Mountains shrouded in immortal mist in front of her. Yan Ji was right. This place was indeed beautiful. Countless mountain peaks surrounded a giant peak in the distance, with several clear rivers crisscrossing it. Even the birds and beasts that could fly were rare breeds. At a glance, one could tell that this place had been arranged by a sect in ancient times. As for why this sect was hidden in the vast river of history, it was impossible to find out. After all, when the Grand Essence Mountain was discovered, the major sects of the Grand Essence realm had already existed. I will establish the mysterious yellow sect here. In the future, this place will be the foundation of my mysterious yellow sect. Ning Cheng took Yan Ji and flew over countless cloud-shrouded peaks before landing on the main peak. Rays of multicolored light shone down, making this place look even more tranquil and beautiful. If the Grand Essence realm's heaven and earth laws were restored, then the Grand Essence Mountain would indeed be the best place to establish a sect. I'll help you, Yan Ji immediately said. Ning Cheng also didn't intend to ask outsiders to establish the mysterious yellow sect. The mysterious yellow sect was his final territory. The Tao monarchs of the Grand Essence realm were illusory, while the mysterious yellow sect truly existed. Yan Ji was a Tao sculpting holy emperor, and her combat prowess was much stronger than ordinary holy emperors. Now, just helping Ning Cheng arrange the sect wouldn't pose any difficulty. Yan Ji began to establish the sect in the Grand Essence Mountain according to Ning Cheng's plan in the Jade Strip. Ning Cheng, on the other hand, arranged the Grand Essence Mountain's sect protecting Grand Array. Ning Cheng used Man Suotian's Golden Dragon Whip and God-Slaying Nail to suppress the sect's sect protecting Grand Array. Moreover, he also used another good weapon, the Blade Mountain Weapon, to suppress the sect protecting Grand Array. Ning Cheng was the Array Formation Grand Master who led the arrangement of the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array. Therefore, it didn't take much effort for him to arrange the Grand Essence Mountain's boundary protecting Grand Array. If the boundary protecting Grand Array was equivalent to the union of Earth's 4 oceans, then the sect protecting Grand Array he arranged now wasn't even 1/100th the size of a sesame seed. Despite this, Ning Cheng still managed to perfect it. It took him a full 6 months to complete the sect protecting Grand Essence Mountain's sect protecting Grand Array. At this time, Yan Ji's sect construction in the main hall of the Grand Essence Mountain also finished. Ning Cheng and Yan Ji stood at the peak of the Grand Essence Mountain, in front of the mysterious yellow sect's new sect. While enjoying the beautiful scenery around the Grand Essence Mountain, a faint sense of satisfaction rose in their hearts. After being taken away by the mysterious yellow bead from Earth, it wasn't until today that he truly felt a sense of security. If he waited until he reached Tao confirming Tao fusion, maybe even without the boundary protecting Grand Array, he wouldn't have to fear Feng Xian. When big sister Luofei and little sister Rulan come, this place will become lively. Yan Ji leaned against Ning Cheng and spoke with a satisfied expression. Ning Cheng showed a slight smile. After things here are over, I plan to go to the 9 Revolutions sacred Tao Pond. Whether Qianghua is there or not, I have to go and ask. After the 9 Revolutions sacred Tao Pond, we will immediately return to Jiangzhou Star. In the past, he didn't have the qualifications to ask about the 9 Revolutions sacred Tao Pond's Qianghua. But now that he had become a Tao monarch, he also had Shuriqing's support. He believed that the women from the 9 Revolutions sacred Tao Pond wouldn't dare to point fingers at him or hide anything from him. Shuriqing didn't care about the sect's affairs. Therefore, if he went there, the 9 Revolutions sacred Tao Pond would definitely give him a positive answer. Yan Ji nodded but didn't speak. Ning Cheng frowned slightly and muttered to himself, she didn't detoxify it. How did he become like this? What was going on? Why did she come here? Yan Ji quickly asked, what's wrong? Let's go and see. After saying that, Ning Qing pulled Yan Ji and stepped out of the Grand Essence Mountain's Grand Array and landed outside the Grand Array. Lu Fanglin, how did you become like this? Don't tell me your tattoo bone poison hasn't been detoxified yet. Ning Qing stared at the skinny woman in front of him. If Ning Qing hadn't remembered Lu Fanglin's aura, he would never have recognized the woman in front of him as Lu Fanglin. Lu Fanglin no longer looked as beautiful as before. Instead, her face was ashen, her hair was yellow and sparse, and her jawbone protruded from her face. At this moment, how could Lu Fanglin still look tempting? It wasn't wrong to say that she was a standing skeleton. Yan Ji only recognized Lu Fanglin when she heard Ning Cheng's words, and she felt even more surprised. Speaking of which, Lu Fanglin was the reason why Ning Cheng could find the dim star gold hidden leaf and refine the true extreme spiritual restoration pill. Lu Fanglin had also shown kindness to Yan Ji. Your brother Ning, no, Dao Monarch. Lu Fanglin bowed in fear. Ning Cheng raised his hand and threw out several medicinal pills, including a heaven-replenishing vein bone pill, before asking in a deep voice, Dao friend Fanglin, we've been through thick and thin together. There's no need for this. Hurry up and tell me, what the hell is going on? Lu Fanglin and he had gone through thick and thin together. Now that she had fallen into such a state, and even took the initiative to come to the Grand Essence Mountain, he naturally had to help. The vein bone poison was cured, but then it relapsed. I didn't listen to you, I didn't let you, Lu Fanglin didn't continue, but Ning Cheng already understood what she meant. He had already judged that Lu Fanglin had a problem with her body and wanted to check it out for her. It was just that Lu Fanglin was too shy to let Ning Cheng do it. Ning Cheng didn't expect to see Lu Fanglin like this when they met again. Is it the problem with the gray steel? Ning Cheng asked in a deep voice. The reason why he saw that Lu Fanglin had a problem was because he suspected the steel. When the gray steel sucked her blood, Ning Cheng felt that something was wrong. But when he reminded Lu Fanglin still cut her wrist and sent her blood to the gray steel. At that time, it was also because the steel sucked Lu Fanglin's blood that she had the opportunity to take Ning Cheng inside. In other words, Ning Cheng owed Lu Fanglin a favor. After Lu Fanglin took the 2 medicinal pills from Ning Cheng, the grayish-white color on her face gradually improved. Her skinny appearance also slowly recovered, and she could finally see a trace of her original outline. She calmed herself down and nodded, yes, it was caused by the gray steel. Chapter 1138. Don't worry, speak slowly. Ning Cheng comforted her. Thinking about the peerless Lu Fanglin turning into such a state, he found it hard to believe. After Lu Fanglin took Ning Cheng's essence chi pill and detoxification pill, and after seeing Ning Cheng again, she felt a lot better. Even her spirit was a lot more stable than before. After you gave me 2 heaven-replenishing mark bone pills, I used 1 pill to detoxify my poison. Together with another junior apprentice sister, the 2 of us lurked for a few months and finally poisoned my enemy with the pattern bone poison. Wait. Ning Cheng suddenly interrupted Lu Fanglin, you said that you poisoned your enemy with the pattern bone poison. Who is your enemy? Is it Pill Association's Cheng Hotian? Lu Fanglin quickly shook her head, I have a lot of respect for Association Master Cheng, and I also know that he is your friend. How could I poison him? My enemy is called Kai Cheng. My best sister also went with me to take revenge, her name is Tsong Ting. Her enemy is the same as my enemy, that Kai Cheng. At this point, Lu Fanglin's face turned even paler. I didn't think that Tsong Ting would recognize a thief as her father and hide with me for a few months. After Kai Cheng was poisoned, she actually attacked me. Ning Cheng frowned slightly, that's not recognizing a thief as her father. She should have some thoughts about you. You must have some treasure on you that attracted her. Lu Fanglin shook her head, no, after she cut off one of my arms, I escaped. Later, I heard that she and Kai Cheng were together. Later, I heard that Association Master Cheng Hotian was poisoned. I felt sorry for Association Master Cheng Hotian. Without Lu Fanglin's detailed explanation, Ning Cheng completely understood. Lu Fanglin indeed poisoned Kai Cheng. Later, Song Ting plotted against Lu Fanglin and took away Lu Fanglin's ring. Song Ting used the other detoxification pill in Lu Fanglin's ring to detoxify Kai Cheng. Then, the pattern bone poison in Lu Fanglin's ring flowed out, and finally, Cheng Ho Tian was poisoned. Ning Cheng waved his hand, "This is not your fault. I also detoxified Association Master Cheng's poison. Tell me about what happened after that." Lu Fanglin's complexion recovered a bit and continued, "After I escaped, I found a way to find you. At that time, there was no news of you. At this time, my body was having problems. My blood was inexplicably swept away by the void. The vein bone poison, which had already been cured, appeared in my body again. However, I was unable to die. Every day, there is an inexplicable voice in my soul calling out to me, asking me to worship a vague god. What happened next?" Yan Ji could not help but ask. She was also very worried. Lu Fanglin glanced at Yan Ji standing beside Ning Cheng and spoke up, "I guessed that it should be because of the gray stone steel. Afterwards, I risked my life to rush into the burial shadow blue sand. Even if I die, I do not want to continue suffering like this." "Then how did you come out?" Ning Cheng frowned slightly. He knew that the burial shadow blue sand was a terrifying existence. Even with his strength and trump cards, he had almost died in the blue shadow burial sands. If Lu Fanglin were to enter the burial shadow blue sand with severe injuries, it would truly bode ill for her. "I saw Qi Shizingsing in the burial shadow blue sand. He seemed to have gone crazy and was running in a fixed direction. I called out to him, but he didn't answer. But I couldn't catch up with him. I knew that Qi Shizingsing was your best friend, so I thought I should tell you about it. I was very careful and spent several years before I managed to exit the burial shadow blue sand. My body grew weaker and weaker, and my cultivation grew worse and worse. It wasn't until recently that I learned that you had become a Dao Lord and led the Grand Essence Realms Array Dao Grandmaster to complete the arrangement of the Grand Essence Realms Protective Grand Array." As Lu Fanglin spoke until here, her eyes flashed with a glimmer of light. Ning Cheng was a Dao Lord, but he was also her friend. Even if she was useless, she had made a great friend. Ning Cheng's heart tightened. He knew that Qi Shizingsing had gone to the Grand Essence ruins. But wasn't he looking for the Grand Essence Spirit Thunder? Why did he go to the burial shadow blue sand? When did this happen? Ning Cheng asked with a solemn tone. He knew many people in the Grand Essence realm, and even more people called him friends. But he didn't have many true friends, and Qi Shizingsing was his true friend. Since Qi Shizingsing was in trouble, he had to save him. 16 years ago. Lu Fanglin's words made Ning Cheng's heart sink. 16 years ago, he most likely was still on his way to Jiaoyang Mountain. Besides, Qi Shizingsing had appeared in the burial shadow blue sand 16 years ago, but he didn't seem to be in a good state. Could he really be safe and sound now? "I'm going to the burial shadow blue sand now." Ning Cheng quickly made up his mind. Qi Shizingsing was trapped in the burial shadow blue sand, so he had to go there. "I'll go with you," Lu Fanglin said immediately. Ning Cheng nodded and agreed to Lu Fanglin's words. Lu Fanglin's blood and soul had already been extracted by the gray stone steel in the burial shadow blue sand. "Your cultivation is too weak. Stay in my true spirit world to cultivate." "I'll stay with you in the true spirit world." She had to go with Ning Cheng. Although she had reached the Tao confirming realm, she couldn't help much in a place like the burial shadow blue sand. Ning Cheng hadn't yet returned to Heaven Essence Sacred City when he received another shocking news. Feng Xian might have come to the Grand Essence realm. Ning Cheng quickly sped up and arrived at the Grand Essence Tao Court. Several people from the Grand Essence Tao Court were already waiting there. Sect Master Li Feng of the Mysterious Crossing Ancient Clan, Sect Master Dai Fu of the Nine Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond, Cheng Ho Tian, and Pill Association's Primordial Chaos Holy Emperor Beit Saixia were also there. "Dao Lord Ning, Feng Xian of the Realmless Palace really came to my Grand Essence realm." As soon as Ning Cheng returned to the Dao Court, Dai Fu spoke up. Ning Qing said in a deep voice, "At this time, my Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection Grand Array is still intact. Although we don't have many experts, dealing with the Realmless Palace isn't a big deal." Who was the first to send this news? Dai Fu spoke up again. "It was my 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pan's Dao Ancestor. Dao Ancestor got the news because she left the Grand Essence Realm. She sent the news back to my 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond, and I immediately came to the Dao Court. It said that Feng Xian not only came to my Grand Essence Realm first, but he also invited friends from all over the world to gather at the periphery of the Grand Essence Realm. Although Feng Xian didn't say it explicitly, it seems that he wants to carve up my Grand Essence Realm." Ning Qing sneered. Feng Xian wanted to carve up the Grand Essence Realm by himself with a motley crew. Feng Xian's ass was whiter than the others. Li Feng sighed. "Fortunately, we completed the Boundary Protection Grand Array and established the Grand Essence Dao Court. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable." Ning Qing also felt some fear in his heart. Fortunately, he had done these things in time. If the Grand Essence Realm had remained the same as before, then even if the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pan got the news, they wouldn't have been able to effectively stop the locusts from rushing into the Grand Essence Realm. With those big sects' character of sweeping away the snow in front of their doors, they would never do their best to deal with these foreign cultivators. The Grand Essence Realm was already broken to begin with. So what if they snatched it again? Dao Ancestor from my 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pan said, "Dao Lord Ning did 2 things very well, whether it was the Boundary Protection Grand Array or the establishment of the Dao Court." She also left a message saying that when Feng Xian came to the Grand Essence Realm, she would come back to help. "Many thanks, Senior Shi." Ning Qing stood up and thanked her. Although the Dao Integration Realm was still worlds apart from the Dao Ancestor Realm, everyone in the Grand Essence Realm called the Dao Ancestor Realm. Court Pillar Li, immediately issue a Dao Court Crisis Order in the name of the Grand Essence Dao Court. The Grand Essence Realm is facing an invasion from the outside world. Gather all the fighting powerhouses of the big sects and all the rogue cultivators. After Ning Qing thanked Dai Fu, he issued the first Dao Court Crisis Order since the establishment of the Grand Essence Dao Court. The Grand Essence Dao Court issued a lot of Dao Court Orders. These Dao Court Orders contain some rules and regulations, some moral codes that the cultivators of the Grand Essence Realm must abide by. Ning Qing authorized the first court pillar Li Feng to issue these Dao Court Orders. According to the rules set by the Grand Essence Dao Court, Li Feng had full authority to issue them. However, this was the first time that the Dao Court Crisis Order had gathered the power of the entire Grand Essence Realm. Feng Xian was about to come to the Grand Essence Realm. Even if Feng Xian hadn't arrived yet, Ning Qing, as the Dao Lord of the Grand Essence Dao Court, couldn't go to the Blue Shadow Burial Sand at this time. He had to stay, integrate the strength of the Grand Essence Realm, and then deal with Feng Xian. Since the establishment of the Grand Essence Dao Court, the atmosphere of the entire Grand Essence Realm had changed. The kind of massacres that could be seen everywhere in the past, now only happened in secret. Moreover, once an unfair murder happened, one could directly go to the Grand Essence Dao Court to complain. Although Ning Qing wasn't in the Dao Court, the Dao Court had done countless things. The Grand Essence Dao Court didn't collect resources from the major sects, nor did it strip the resources of rogue cultivators. Under the Grand Essence Dao Court, there were countless pill houses, artifact houses, and other business models. In addition, there was also the income from entering and exiting the Grand Essence Realm. With these alone, the Grand Essence Dao Court was enough to establish a foothold in the Grand Essence Realm. It was also because of what the Grand Essence Dao Court had done in the past few months that the cultivators of the Grand Essence Realm quickly became loyal to them. Now that the Grand Essence Dao Court issued a Dao Court Crisis Order, almost all cultivators who received the news rushed to the Heaven Essence Sacred City. The Grand Essence Realm was a place with a Dao Court, and it had just established the Grand Essence Defensive Array. Yet, there were still people who wanted to divide the Grand Essence Realm. It was no different from courting death. Feng Xian hadn't arrived yet, and the power gathered by Feng Xian was still scattered in all directions of the vast void. At the same time, the power of the Grand Essence realm had already begun to gather. At the same time, many escape lights flew in only one direction, that is, the Heaven Essence Sacred City. 10 days later, the Heaven Essence Sacred City had already become filled with experts. No matter how big the Heaven Essence Sacred City was, it couldn't accommodate so many people. Countless temporary caves started to appear around the periphery of the Heaven Essence Sacred City. The number of these caves increased exponentially every day. If the Grand Essence Tao Court didn't control these things, the crazed influx of cultivators would have been enough to overwhelm the Heaven Essence Sacred City. After a month, Ning Qing didn't continue to wait. He knew that more people would come here, but he couldn't wait any longer. This time, he didn't hold the meeting in the Grand Essence Tao Court's throne room. Instead, he set up a void throne room outside the Heaven Essence Sacred City to hold the meeting for all the cultivators who came to the Grand Essence Tao Court. Chapter 1139. Outside the Heaven Essence Sacred City, countless cultivators had gathered here. Ning Qing stood on the transparent void throne room, adding a bit of momentum. Ning Qing knew very well that the throne room was necessary. He didn't represent one person, but the entire Tao Court. If there was no form, it would imperceptibly weaken the rallying power of the Tao Court. On Ning Cheng's left and right stood the 10 pillars. As soon as Ning Qing stood out, the noisy scene suddenly quietened down. Ning Cheng's prestige had slowly been established in the Grand Essence realm. Prestige was a thing that would subtly take root in people's hearts. As the leader of the Grand Essence Realm Pill Association, Ning Cheng's only shortcoming was his weak cultivation, which was only at the early stage Tao Essence realm. If Ning Cheng's cultivation was also at the primordial Chaos realm, then he would truly be a Tao Lord. Even so, all the cultivators in the Grand Essence realm knew that. If one wanted to find a Tao Lord in the Grand Essence realm, Ning Cheng was undoubtedly the only candidate. No one was more suitable than Ning Cheng. Even the Tao Unification Holy Emperors of the Grand Essence realm weren't as suitable as Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng felt some pride in his heart. When he first arrived in the Grand Essence realm, he was just a passerby. In just a few years, he had condensed the power of the Grand Essence realm and almost stood at the peak of the Grand Essence realm. This time, the Tao Court's emergency order reflected the appeal of the Grand Essence Tao Court. This scene was more than 10 times more enthusiastic than the sect meeting he held in the name of the Pill Association. Ning Qing raised his hand and cupped his fists towards everyone. Then, he spoke in a clear voice, "Tao friends from the Grand Essence realm, I heard from Senior Kong of the Void Star sect half a year ago that the Mountain River Dipper was a Khanate artifact left behind by the ancient Holy Emperor during the Good Fortune War. I got lucky and obtained this treasure. At the same time, I used this treasure as the core of my Grand Essence Realm's protective array. But Feng Xian of the Boundless Realm Palace, relying on his status as a Tao Unification Holy Emperor, wants to invite all the powerhouses in the void to come to the Grand Essence Realm. He only has one purpose, to snatch the Mountain River Dipper and divide the cultivation resources of the entire Heaven Essence Realm. Not to mention that the Mountains and Rivers Dipper doesn't belong to Feng Xian. Even if it did, if he wanted to carve up my Grand Essence realm, I, Ning Cheng, would be the first to disagree. The Grand Essence realm is my home. I can bleed, I can fall, but I will never let bandits wreak havoc in my home. Kill him. Kill Feng Xian, you dare to divide up my Grand Essence realm? You're courting death. I support the Tao Court, I support Tao Lord Ning. My blood is here for the Grand Essence realm. Countless voices roared angrily. Some of the voices even contained their own Tao runes. For a moment, this angry declaration of war could be clearly heard within a radius of several million kilometers. Everyone had their own hot-bloodedness, and everyone had their own self-esteem. No matter how strong a cultivator's cultivation was, they would not be able to melt their own hot blood. It was just that most of the time, their hot-bloodedness was hidden by the desire to cultivate and continuously increase their strength. At this moment, the angry shouts of countless people aroused the blood of almost everyone, regardless of their cultivation level. Ning Qing used the mountains and rivers battle as the heart of the array formation. No matter what the cause was, the entire Grand Essence realm would benefit from it. As a cultivator of the Grand Essence realm, everyone would benefit from it. Ning Cheng's words did indeed contain a bit of encouragement, but this kind of intense encouragement was something that everyone was willing to do. At least Ning Cheng wasn't wrong about one thing. The Grand Essence realm was the home of all Grand Essence people. Someone dared to come to their home to rob and plunder. If they didn't bleed and kill to their heart's content, when would they wait? What's more, the Tao court was in full control this time. Even if Feng Xian was a Tao perfection holy emperor, so what? Ning Cheng's heart also boiled. If he stood in the crowd, he would also be driven by everyone's hot-bloodedness. With so many people releasing their Tao wills, it would be difficult to keep calm under this kind of battle Tao runes. When everyone quieted down a little, Ning Cheng continued with enthusiasm, I knew it. There are no cowards in my Grand Essence realm. If cultivators fear death, how can we talk about the great Tao? We cultivate the Tao without fear of death. What's more, it's to protect the foundation of my Grand Essence realm. As the Tao friends of the Grand Essence realm said, if Feng Xian comes, we will kill him. If anyone dares to rob my Grand Essence realm, we will kill him. The Grand Essence realm is our home. We will protect it together. Just like in the past, the days where you can come and go as you please in my Grand Essence realm are gone forever. No one dares to rob my Grand Essence realm, not even Feng Xian. Support the Tao court, support the Tao Lord, we will not fear death. This time, there were more voices in unison. Ning Cheng raised his hand and motioned for his voice to stop. Then, he said, I hereby announce to all Tao friends in the Grand Essence realm that the Grand Essence Tao Court Army has been established. The Taisu Tao Court Army was divided into 10 armies, which were, Li Feng Court Pillar led Tai Su's First Army, Wang Huazhong Court Pillar led Tai Su's Second Army, Dai Fu Court Pillar led Tai Su's Third Army, Mu Yuankong Court Pillar led Tai Su's Fourth Army, Fei Feng Court Pillar led Tai Su's Fifth Army, Xiao Luojin Court Pillar led Tai Su's Sixth Army, Peng Chiyuan Court Pillar led Tai Su's Seventh Army, Luan Court Pillar led Tai Su's Eighth Army, Gong Wu Court Pillar led Tai Su's Ninth Army, and Sha Su Court Pillar led Tai Su's 10th Army. Beit Xia and Xiao Mozi will be in charge of all the follow-up matters. Senior Shuang, Senior Shuriqing, and Senior Kang Shushan will be coordinating with each other. The banners and names of the various armies would be named according to their military achievements after this battle. Moreover, they would be engraved on the Heaven Essence Sacred City's Grand Essence Battle Record Stele. Those who make outstanding contributions in individual battles would also be engraved on the Grand Essence Battle Record Stele and rewarded with Tao confirming treasures. As for the follow-up matters, Ning Cheng naturally had to leave it to his own people. Beit Xia and Xiao Mozi were his own people, so he could rest assured. Ning Cheng had arranged everything in an orderly manner. The 10 court pillars were originally the sect masters of the major sections. Each of the 10 major sects had at least a few million people, and some even had as many as 10 million people. Therefore, setting up an army was naturally not a problem. After the establishment of the 10 armies, the cultivators outside the Heaven Essence Sacred City were quickly divided up. Each of the 10 sect masters took out nearly 1 million people. The originally densely packed crowd immediately became clear after the formation of the 10 armies. When Ning Cheng said that the names of the armies would be named according to their military achievements, although the sect masters of the 10 major sects didn't say anything, they didn't want to lose to others. Moreover, Ning Cheng also came up with the Grand Essence Battle Record Stele. Ning Cheng, a Tao monarch, never spoke empty words. The huge Grand Essence boundary stele in the middle of the Heaven Essence Sacred City's public square had already explained the problem. On that boundary stele, the mysterious ancient clan ranked first, while the Silver Dragon clan ranked second. River Luo Sacred Sect, the premier sect of the 10 major sects, only ranked third in terms of contribution to the boundary-protecting Grand Array. On one hand, it showed the wealth of the Sea clans. On the other hand, it also showed that River Luo Sacred Sect didn't live up to its name. They didn't even rank first in terms of contribution. Feng Xian's speed was faster than expected. When the Boundless Realm Palace really used their trump cards, the effect was fully reflected. Some hidden teleportation arrays, as well as teleportation talismans that weren't usually used, were put to use at this time. At this time, Feng Xian stood on the deck of a void airship. He looked at the endless void in the distance with his hands behind his back and a slight frown on his face. Two people stood beside him. Apart from the pretty female cultivator, there was also a man with Dao fusion cultivation. Palace Master, we can reach the periphery of the Grand Essence Realm in 2 months at most. We rarely come to this part of the void, nor do we have any hidden teleportation points. The pretty female cultivator standing next to him said in a low voice. Feng Xian shook his head. I don't think we're slow. In fact, it's already beyond my expectations to reach the periphery of the Grand Essence domain in a little more than a year. What I'm worried about is that I made a mistake. Seeing looking at him in confusion, Feng Xian sighed and explained, I shouldn't have issued the Boundless Realm Palace's summon order in advance. Yu said in doubt, issuing the summon order in advance would allow everyone to reach the outside of the Grand Essence Realm quickly. They can't travel at the same speed as us. Once they're far away, they might have to spend more than 10 years on the road. Feng Xian said in a deep voice, people who spend more than 10 years on the road won't be able to help much even if they come. The main purpose of my summon order is not to deal with the people from the Grand Essence Realm, but to deal with the people from the Grand Change Realm going to the Grand Essence Realm. Think about it, if the people from the Grand Change Realm who want to kill Ningqing don't know that Ningqing is still alive. If I issued the summon order, wouldn't it be tantamount to telling others that Ningqing is still alive? Yu understood and nodded, Palace Master is right, but we can't come up with a perfect solution. Yu had just spoken up to hear when she suddenly took out a communication pearl, and her expression changed slightly. What's the matter? Feng Xian immediately asked. Yu was equivalent to his personal property, and everything had to be related to him. Replying to Palace Master, I just got the news that the Grand Essence Realm set up a boundary-protecting Grand Array not long ago. Yu replied with a complicated expression. Boundary-protecting Grand Array. Feng Xian frowned. What ability does the Grand Essence Realm have to set up a boundary-protecting Grand Array? Even if those Dao integration experts joined forces, they wouldn't be able to find the person who set up the boundary-protecting Grand Array, right? What's the specific situation? Yu shook her head, I don't know yet. I've already sent a message to ask. But I guess that this boundary-protecting Grand Array shouldn't be very strong. I guess it can only block people below Dao integration. With such a powerful boundary-protecting Grand Array, even if Dao integration experts enter, the array can't stop them. Only Dao integration experts can take action. Feng Xian nodded. He felt that Yu was right. In a place like the Grand Essence Realm, even if a boundary-protecting Grand Array could be set up, how could it stop him? As long as it couldn't stop him, he could tear up a mere boundary-protecting Grand Array. Let's speed up. Even if he wasn't afraid of the Grand Essence Realm's boundary-protecting Grand Array, Feng Xian decided to speed up and head to the Grand Essence Realm. If Feng Xian knew that his worries had come true, that Ao Beijiang of the Grand Essence Realm had really learned from him that Ningqing hadn't died and was on his way to the Grand Essence Realm with his people, perhaps his intestines would turn green with regret. Ao Beijiang knew that Ningqing hadn't died and had returned to the Grand Essence Realm because of Feng Xian's big mouth. At this time, he hurried to the Grand Essence Realm with several disciples. Mu Zuoxiao, who followed him, was just one of his many disciples and the one he was most proud of. Chapter 1140. The Magic Light Void City was just an ordinary void city in the endless void. At that moment, two men walked in the air from afar and landed at the entrance of the void city. Brother Yu Heng, thank you very much. I didn't think that we would be able to recover our cultivation bases in just a few short years, said the slightly taller man with a smile. The man who was called Brother Yu Heng also smiled with extreme satisfaction. He was just about to speak when his expression suddenly changed and he cursed angrily. This bastard is really shameless. Who's shameless? The slightly taller man asked in confusion. Brother Yu Heng gave a snort and pointed to the notice suspended outside the city gate. That Feng Xian of the Limitless Palace. He even chased Brother Ning to the Grand Essence Realm. What a shameless thing. When the surrounding people heard Brother Yu Heng's words, they all moved to the side. Calling Feng Xian a shameless young man here was simply suicidal. Who would be willing to stand with such a person? At this time, the other slightly taller man also saw the notice floating outside the city gate. It was the Boundless Palace's summon order. The general meaning of the summoning order was that Ning Qing of the Grand Essence Realm had snatched the treasures of the Boundless Realm Palace. Feng Xian expressed extreme indignation on behalf of the Boundless Realm Palace. This time, he gathered many like-minded Dao friends to go to the Grand Essence Realm to seek justice. In addition to that, the notice also vaguely mentioned that the Grand Essence Realm's laws were broken. There was no defensive array, but the treasures inside were piled up like mountains. Despite being so rich, Ning Qing from the Grand Essence Realm still went to the Boundless Realm Palace to snatch treasures. It would be hard to justify not killing him. Ning Qing. Is he the array formation master who rescued us from the Perpetual Moon sect? Nothing happened to him? The taller man asked in a slightly higher voice. Brother Yu Heng nodded. That's right, I forgot to tell you about this. When I went to the Limitless Palace, I happened to meet Ning Cheng, who was also going to the Limitless Palace. As a result, those shameless things from the Boundless Realm Palace wanted to take advantage of Brother Ning Cheng. I happened to see it and brought Brother Ning Cheng out. At that time, I thought the matter was over, but I didn't expect Feng Xian to be so persistent. Bastard, Feng Xian is nothing. He's just a small Dao integration cultivator with incomplete laws. Even if I, Huang Bei's, lose everything, I still have to go to the Grand Essence Realm to help. The slightly taller man spoke up in anger. He was also a Saint Emperor rescued by Ning Cheng from the Perpetual Moon Gate. With him was Wan Yuheng, who had met Ning Cheng in the Boundless Realm Palace. Wan Yuheng immediately said, I think so too. Back then, I was alone and couldn't do anything to Feng Xian. Now that we've recovered our cultivation, I don't believe that Feng Xian has 3 heads and 6 arms. Huang Bei's calmed down. Brother Yuheng, although our foundation is stronger than Feng Xian's, he is a Dao integration expert after all. The two of us shouldn't be his match. Our Perpetual Moon sect has more than 100 primordial chaos experts and half-step Dao integration experts. Why would we be afraid of Feng Xian? Even if we can't summon all of them, as long as we can summon 20 or 30 of them, Feng Xian will have to bear the consequences. Then what are we waiting for? Let's contact them now. Wan Yuheng took out his communication bead and sent out several messages in an instant. Huang Bei's also took out his communication bead and sent out several messages. The same scene happened everywhere. Outside Kunlan's void city, a woman stared at the notice outside and muttered to herself in doubt. Was Ning Cheng from the Perpetual Moon sect? Before she could continue speculating, a message landed on her communication bead. Her face sank and she snorted. A mere Dao integration Holy Emperor dares to be so arrogant. After saying this, she went straight to the teleportation array. For most Dao confirmation Holy Emperors, as long as they learned about the kindness of saving their lives, they generally wouldn't turn a blind eye to it. If Feng Xian knew that he was a Dao integration cultivator and someone even mocked him for being a mere Dao integration cultivator, he would probably cry. On the boundless square outside the Grand Essence Realm, Feng Xian's spaceship had just landed when Ao Beijiang arrived. When Feng Xian saw Ao Beijiang also saw Feng Xian. Dao friend Xian, long time no see. I didn't expect you to come to my 5 grand realms. If I had known that Dao friend Xian would come, I, Ao Beijiang, would have gone to greet you. Ao Beijiang greeted him with a smile on his face. Feng Xian also had a fake smile on his face. Thank you, Dao friend Beijiang, for your politeness. But this time, I'm not going to the Grand Change Realm. Instead, I'm here to collect some old debts. After saying this, Feng Xian didn't wait for Ao Beijiang to speak again and continued. The person I'm looking for is called Ning Cheng. He took 2 of my things. I don't know what this Ning Cheng stole from Brother Sihen. Of course, if it's not convenient to say, then don't say it. Ao Beijiang asked with a smile. Feng Xian knew that since Ao Beijiang came, Ao Beijiang would definitely know that he had taken something from Ning Cheng. There was no point in hiding it at this time, so he simply said it directly. This person took away my mountain river dipper. In addition to the mountain river dipper, I also had a bead. Feng Xian didn't say what the bead was. Many people knew that the mountain river dipper belonged to Feng Xian, and Ao Beijiang naturally knew about it. Mountain river dipper. Did Ning Cheng really take away your mountain river dipper? Ao Beijiang repeated in shock. He thought that Feng Xian was looking for Ning Cheng because, like him, he suspected that Ning Cheng had a good fortune treasure. He didn't expect it to be the mountain river dipper. Did Ning Cheng have the ability to snatch the mountain river dipper from Feng Xian's hands? As for what the bead was, he completely ignored it. Feng Xian understood Ao Beijiang's meaning and showed a cold smile. Even if Ning Cheng's cultivation was 1,000,000 times stronger, he wouldn't be able to snatch the mountain river dipper from my hands. The reason why he could snatch the mountain river dipper is because I gave it to my nephew, Feng Yu. This Ning Cheng is insidious and cunning. He hid in the dark and secretly plotted against Feng Yu. Not only did he take away Feng Yu's true young heart, but he also took away the mountain river dipper. If Feng Yu wasn't stronger than him, I'm afraid this person would have killed him. Mu Zuoxiao, who stood next to Ao Beijiang, frowned slightly. Senior Feng, as far as I know, that Ning Cheng shouldn't be a villain who plotted against others. Why would he plot against our friend Feng Yu? The reason why Mu Zuoxiao said that Ning Cheng wasn't a villain was because he knew about the pill duel between Ning Cheng and Lu Dongsa. Although Ning Cheng won against Lu Dongsa, he didn't take the opportunity to take possession of the universe vegetation. Instead, he borrowed it. Feng Xian's mouth showed a cold smile. Who took away my things? I'm not blind. I must take away Ning Cheng. Feng Xian, please wait until I take away Ning Cheng. Brother Beijiang, please don't stop me. Ao Beijiang showed a faint smile. He first spoke to Mu Zuoxiao. Zuoxiao, you don't know what kind of person Ning Cheng is, because you're not familiar with him. After that, he cupped his fists towards Feng Xian and said, Brother Xian, I can't let you take away Ning Cheng. This person is a thief. He not only took away Brother Xian's mountain river dipper and bead, but also took away my things. Therefore, I have to take him away. Hearing Ao Beijiang admit that Ning Cheng stole his mountain river dipper and bead, Feng Xian felt slightly relieved. But then he asked, what did Ning Cheng take away from Brother Beijiang? Ao Beijiang sighed, just as Brother Xian doesn't want to say what bead it is, I also don't want to say that he took away my things. It involves my privacy. Ning Cheng most likely had a good fortune treasure on him. Ao Beijiang wouldn't say it unless he was a fool. Seeing Feng Xian frowning and his expression turning ugly, Ao Beijiang quickly said, how about this, Brother Xian? When the time comes, I'll give you Ning Cheng's mountain river dipper and bead, but I'll take away Ning Cheng. Feng Xian didn't answer. He naturally knew about Ao Beijiang's cunning. He didn't even ask about the bead and said that he would give it to him. From this, it could be seen that the value of what he wanted from Ning Cheng was definitely higher than the wood origin bead. Thinking of this, Feng Xian decided to speak about the wood origin bead. Brother Beijiang, it's not that I don't believe you. It's because Ning Cheng took away my wood origin bead. Although we are old friends, the wood origin bead involves too much. It's not that I don't believe Brother Beijiang. Wood origin bead? Ao Beijiang spoke up in surprise. If he hadn't suspected that Ning Cheng had a good fortune treasure, he wouldn't have felt so shocked even if Ning Cheng had several origin beads on him. But now that Ning Cheng had a wood origin bead, it made him even more certain that Ning Cheng had a good fortune treasure. He had heard that to complete the mysterious yellow bead, he needed 5 origin beads. Did Ning Cheng have the mysterious yellow bead? Thinking of the mysterious yellow bead, Ao Beijiang trembled with excitement. Not waiting for Ao Beijiang to speak, several figures landed on the huge void public square outside the Grand Essence realm. These people quickly saw Feng Xian and quickly came over to greet him. Feng Xian felt overjoyed and quickly cupped his fists. Dao friends, you've worked hard. When things are over here, my boundless realm palace will not mistreat any of the Dao friends who came to help. Ao Beijiang calmed down completely at this time. He took a deep breath, cupped his fists again, and said to Feng Xian, Brother Xian, I didn't expect that Ning Cheng would snatch your wood origin bead. As you know, Zhou Shao is a primordial chaos pill saint, and the wood origin bead is very important to him. I'll take out a Dao integration Dao fruit, 10 top-grade spirit veins, and a piece of outer realm fog silk. How about exchanging them for your wood origin bead? But the premise is that Ning Cheng must let me take him away. This person is too daring. Not only did he snatch my treasure, but he also took away Qiongshi. Ao Beijiang gnashed his teeth as he spoke. When Ao Beijiang mentioned the outer realm fog silk, Feng Xian felt shocked. The outer realm fog silk was a top-grade treasure for comprehending the third step Dao confirming Holy Emperor. Not to mention the Dao integration Dao fruit and 10 top-grade spirit veins. The value of a piece of outer realm fog silk was no worse than the wood origin bead. Although the wood origin bead was precious, it wasn't as practical as the outer realm fog silk. When Ao Beijiang mentioned Qiongshi, Feng Xian finally asked, Qiongshi. He knew who Qiongshi was. She was the most beautiful woman in the Grand Change realm, and Ao Beijiang had taken her into his arms. Did Ning Cheng seduce this woman? Was it because of this woman that Ning Cheng could steal Ao Beijiang's treasure? If Ao Beijiang knew what Feng Xian was thinking, he would have laughed. You're right to think that way. Chapter 1141. Deal, I just want the mountain river dipper and the thing you gave me. As for the wood origin bead, I will trade it to Brother Beijiang. How about it? Feng Xian said without hesitation. Ao Beijiang laughed, Brother Xian and I have been friends for a long time. There's no need to talk about now. Ao Beijiang felt extremely carefree. Every second step Dao validation expert wanted the outer realm fog thread. Just thinking about it being a treasure that could help one comprehend the third step Dao validation made him tremble with excitement. The key was that the outer realm mist silk could only be found by chance. Only Ao Beijiang knew that the actual effect of the outer realm mist silk was far less than the rumors said. He had obtained 2 outer realm mist silk and used one of them. He had indeed reached the third step of Dao vindication. However, only he knew that if he wanted to use the outer realm mist silk to truly reach the third step Dao vindication expert, it would be like trying to see the moon in the water. The difference between comprehending the third step shadow and the third step Dao vindication expert was like heaven and earth. Feng Xian also laughed and said, Let's enter the great essence realm together. I heard that there's a realm protection grand formation here. Ao Beijiang pointed at the realm protection grand formation in front of him, child's play. I guess my disciples shall organize the 5 realms pill competition to let some juniors see the realm protection grand formation. As he spoke, Ao Beijiang took a step forward. The boundless void plaza seemed like it was only a single step beneath his feet. With just a casual step, he arrived at the end of the plaza. Stop, without permission, you are not allowed to enter my great essence realm. A Dao molding divine emperor stopped Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian behind him. Ao Beijiang snorted coldly and raised his hand to deliver a slap. This Dao molding divine emperor was slapped flying and spat out mouthfuls of blood. While still in the air, the Dao molding divine emperor threw out several red lights. A series of sharp screeches spread out like ripples. Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian's positions immediately changed. Immediately, the two of them discovered that their surroundings were shrouded in mist and they could no longer see their surroundings clearly. Ao Beijiang's face turned ugly as he said in disbelief, This array isn't any weaker than the Supreme Change Realm's protective array. How is this possible? Almost at the same time, Feng Xian also saw the power of this array formation. He even thought that this array formation was stronger than the array formation of the Great Change Realm. A series of shrill cries continued to spread, and it seemed as though there was an endless amount of Daoist aura rushing over. Zua Xiao, request Dao Monarch Jess of the Glazed Ing Dao Court to mobilize the army of the Dao Court. Agree to his request. At this instant, Ao Beijiang knew that things weren't as simple as he had imagined. Regardless of how powerful the Grand Essence Realm was, this defensive array wasn't something a Dao Perfection Realm cultivator could break. This defense array was so strong that he suspected that it used a Khanate Dharma treasure as its foundation. Waves of Dao runes came crashing down, but Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian didn't move. It wasn't that they couldn't break the Dao charm power of these defensive arrays, but that Ao Beijiang's slap had severely injured the Grand Essence Realm's Guardian Array formation. If they dared to try to break the array formation again, they would have to fight to the death. Not to mention, this array formation wasn't that easy to break. Feng Xian's expression kept changing, and no one knew what he was thinking. Kacha, with a crisp sound, the surrounding mist-like Dao runes cracked open, and an old man walked out with dozens of people. Kang Shoshan! Feng Xian exclaimed in shock. He had calculated that Kang Shoshan couldn't come out due to the poison. But he didn't expect that Kang Shoshan not only came out, but his cultivation wasn't affected at all. If Shuriqing also came out, he wouldn't have been able to escape this time. Fortunately, he and Ao Beijiang had formed an alliance, and Ao Beijiang even invited the Dao Court army to threaten him. Kang Shoshan's face turned gloomy, and he looked at the few people coldly. Ao Beijiang, Feng Xian, do you think my Grand Essence Realm is easy to bully? You came to the Grand Essence Realm, but you even dared to injure my Grand Essence Realm's guardian Holy Emperor. Not only that, but you also wanted to break my Grand Essence Realm's realm-protecting Grand Array. Do you think you're invincible in the universe and want to crush my Grand Essence Realm? Congratulations to Brother Kong for returning to the peak. I, Feng Xian, came to the Grand Essence Realm from the Boundless Realm Palace for only one thing. That is, Ning Qing of the Grand Essence Realm stole my Boundless Realm Palace's Xiantian artifact, Mountain River Dipper. As long as Brother Kong hands over Ning Qing, Feng Xian, am willing to apologize and compensate for the Grand Essence Realm's losses. I'll also withdraw from the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array. Feng Xian cupped his fists and spoke politely. The Grand Essence Realm's array formation had been perfected. Not only that, but it also had a powerhouse like Kang Shoshan standing guard. If he still wanted to carve up the Grand Essence Realm like before, it would be too unrealistic. It could only be said that he wasn't well informed. No wonder Ning Qing had to flee back to the Grand Essence Realm. Brother Kong is right. Ning Qing has done too much evil. As long as you let us take Ning Qing away, I, Ao Beijiang, am willing to compensate for my recklessness. Once things turn sour, it won't be good for anyone. The Grand Change Realm isn't far from here, and millions of Dao Court army troops can reach it at any time. Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian had the same thoughts. He didn't expect the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array to be this powerful. An abrupt voice came over, so, you're going to threaten us? Seeing this woman, Ao Beijiang frowned slightly. Kang Shoshan was enough of a headache, and now Shuriqing came along. Whether it's a threat or not, I really didn't expect it. We came here just to take Ning Qing away. The Luying Dao Court's Dao Court army has already come to pick us up, and the Boundless Palace's summon has already been issued. I believe that the sooner Ning Qing leaves this place, the better it would be for the Grand Essence Realm. Ao Beijiang said calmly. Old thing, do you want to die? How dare you take away our Dao Lord? Do you think my Grand Essence Realm can come and go as you please? An angry voice shouted. A primordial essence Holy Emperor next to Ao Beijiang also stood up in displeasure when he heard this angry shout. Who are you? How can you interrupt when a Dao Perfection powerhouse speaks? Are you deaf? We want to take Ning Qing away. Besides, when did your Grand Essence Realm have a Dao Lord? Little thing, listen to me. Your grandfather is Zhu Fanghen, the first protector of the Elixir Association. Ning Qing is the first Dao Lord of my Grand Essence Dao Court. How dare these two ignorant things come to my grand essence realm to take away our Tao Lord? Bah! Zhu Fenghen spat after he finished speaking. Ever since Ning Qing killed Man Suotian and avenged Sichen Qiu Tian, he became much more relaxed and supported Ning Qing even more. The many primordial essence holy emperors who came with the grand essence realm all felt relieved. Many people admired Ning Cheng's foresight. If Ning Qing hadn't led everyone to set up the realm protecting Grand Array and the Grand Essence Tao Court didn't exist, why would these two Tao Perfection holy emperors speak so politely? The Grand Essence realm was no longer the Grand Essence realm of the past. The days of coming and going freely in the Grand Essence realm were long gone. Feng Xian and Ao Beijiang were completely shocked by Zhu Fenghen's words. It wasn't surprising for the Grand Essence realm to set up a realm protecting Grand Essence realm and establish a Tao court. What was surprising was that Ning Qing, a mere Tao transformation holy emperor, had become a Tao court lord. Was there anything more outrageous than this in this world? Could it be that a pale sage who knew alchemy had such a high status in the Grand Essence realm? As far as they knew, Ning Cheng's glory was only because he got into the top 3 in the 5 realms pill competition. Ao Beijiang took in a deep breath and spoke with a low voice, "This is our fault. Dao friend Xian and I didn't know that Ning Cheng was the Dao Court's Dao Lord of the Grand Essence realm. In that case, we are willing to withdraw." The two Dao Perfection holy emperors were willing to leave and even took the initiative to admit their mistakes. Everyone didn't know what to say for a while. At this moment, a cold voice sounded, "You came to my Grand Essence realm and beat people up, and now you want to leave? Your face isn't even as white as his ass." Just as the voice fell, a young man landed in front of everyone. Pil Sage Ning. Mu Zuoxiao knew Ning Cheng and called out in surprise as soon as Ning Cheng appeared. Feng Xian stared at Ning Cheng and didn't speak. Even though Ning Cheng went to the Boundless Palace to disguise himself, he still recognized Ning Cheng now. What shocked him was that Ning Cheng wasn't a Dao Transformation Holy Emperor. His cultivation was at the Dao Essence Holy Emperor level. Moreover, his aura was restrained and his Dao runes were circulating. His cultivation had already condensed for a long time. This person was definitely a strong opponent. If he didn't kill Ning Cheng this time, would the Boundless Palace still exist in the future? Thinking of this, Feng Xian felt a chill in his heart. This was the first time he felt so afraid of a Dao Essence Holy Emperor. What can you do about it if I just injured a Dao modeling ant? Hearing Ning Cheng's words, Ao Beijiang's voice also turned cold. He was a Dao perfection expert. So what if Ning Cheng was a Dao court lord? As for Ning Cheng's cultivation, he had only heard about it before and didn't have any direct impression. Compensate everyone with 10 supreme grade God spirit veins and then scram. Otherwise, die, Ning Cheng said in an indifferent tone. His killing intent surged out along with his words, one Dao rune after another. Even Kang Xiushan and the others felt that Ning Cheng was asking for too much. He wanted 20 supreme grade God spirit veins to injure a Dao modeling holy emperor. This was asking Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian. If Kang Xiushan asked for it, he wouldn't even have a single supreme grade God spirit vein. To everyone's surprise, Ao Beijiang did not hesitate to throw out a ring to Ning Cheng. Seeing Ao Beijiang throw a ring, Feng Xian hesitated for a moment before also throwing a ring to Ning Cheng. Then, the two of them didn't say a word and just stared at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng scanned the ring with his spiritual consciousness before throwing out an array flag and saying in a cold tone, "Scram." A path suddenly appeared in the defensive array surrounded by Dao runes. Ao Beijiang, Feng Xian, and the others instantly retreated from this path. Dao Lord Ning, I'm afraid will offend them even more, Flaming Feather Spirit Mountain Sect Master Peng Qiuan said worriedly. Ning Cheng shook his head. No, even if we please them and send them out, this battle is inevitable. He has dignity as a Dao Integration Holy Emperor. If he loses it here, he will definitely get it back. The reason why he didn't dare to make a move before was because he didn't have any chance of winning. It's a pity that they didn't give me a chance. I can't make the first move. After Ning Cheng said that, He handed the ring to Li Feng behind him and said, "In the future, when the battle starts, these will be the rewards." Chapter 1142. Everyone understood what Ning Qing meant. Experts like Feng Xian and Ao Beijiang had been told to scram by Ning Qing. If they did not regain their face, they would not be Dao integration experts. When Ning Qing said that they couldn't start now, he also understood the strength of the Grand Change Realm. When Ao Beijiang brought the Dao Court's army over, it would become a grudge between Ao Beijiang and the Grand Essence Realm. If they killed Ao Beijiang at this time, it would be equivalent to the Grand Essence Realm slapping the Grand Change Realm's face. At that time, it would not just be one Dao Court army, but 5 Dao Court armies. No matter how strong the Grand Essence Realm's Great Barrier Array was, it couldn't deal with the Great Change Realm's 5 Great Dao Court armies at the same time. There was one more thing that Ning Qing didn't tell anyone. That is, there was still a secret about his barrier protecting Grand Array. If they wanted to fight, they had to make full use of this secret and kill as many invaders as possible. If he destroyed the army of a Dao Court, others would have to think twice before coming over. We're still too weak. But as long as we survive this time, anyone who wants to deal with my Grand Essence Realm will have to see if their bones are hard enough. Ning Qing looked at Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian's backs and spoke with some helplessness. Ning Qing didn't care much about Ao Beijiang bringing the Dao Court's army. With his 7 bridges spirit technique and time wheel, he wasn't afraid of numbers. No one knew that the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array also had a hidden trap and kill array. Moreover, the array heart of this trap and kill array was another innate weapon, the innate Dragon Pearl. Ever since Ning Qing arranged the protective array for the Grand Essence Realm, he had been leading the Grand Essence Dao Court in an orderly manner. Now that Ning Qing had made such a decision, no one would think that it was inappropriate. Even Kang Xiushan and Shuriqing didn't think it was inappropriate. Brother Beijiang, you're really magnanimous and patient. If Brother Beijiang went all out at that time, Feng Xian would have done my best to help. Feng Xian and Ao Beijiang stood in the void far away from the Grand Essence Realm and spoke with a sarcastic tone. At this time, hundreds of people had gathered behind him, and more were coming. Obviously, Feng Xian was not willing to leave just like that. If Ao Beijiang wasn't here, he might really have no choice but to leave. Now that Ao Beijiang was here, how could he just leave like that? Ao Beijiang smiled calmly as well, then said nonchalantly, "Do you think you're that amazing just because you've become a Dao Lord? If I wanted to be a Dao Lord, I would have become a Dao Lord long ago. When my Great Change Realm's Dao Court army arrives, I will let Ning Qing know that just having the title of Dao Lord isn't enough. I also need my own Dao Court army. The Taisu Dao Court has just been established, and even the Dao Court army can only pull out a few of them. Even if there are, they are just a motley crew." His words were calm, but only Ao Beijiang himself knew the humiliation he was feeling. The humiliation of Ning Qing telling him to fuck off, he felt it much deeper than Feng Xian. This was not the first time someone with a lower cultivation level had told him to get lost. It was the first time in the beyond of heaven and earth. The young man stood quietly in front of him and told him to scram in a flat tone. He attacked angrily, but his opponent only had one slash. After that slash, he almost didn't even have the chance to roll away. This time, he heard someone telling him to get lost again. At that time, he wanted to rush up and twist Ning Cheng's head off so that he could see clearly that he was the Dao Integration Sacred Emperor of the Great Change Realm, Ao Beijiang. Even the Dao Lords of the Great Change Realm had to address him as a senior. However, he didn't. He had a hunch that if he had dared to rush up, Ao Beijiang would no longer exist in this world. He didn't even use his escape technique. Under that array formation, he felt a sense of restraint and felt that he couldn't use his escape technique. At the thought of this, Ao Beijiang's heart suddenly trembled. He felt a sense of familiarity. 2 scrums. 2 young saint emperors, and their cultivations were lower than his. Was the matter of the past going to repeat itself? Very soon, Ao Beijiang forcibly put these thoughts aside. How was this possible? When the Luoying Dao Court army arrived, he would have 30 to 40 primordial chaos experts on his side. Brother Feng Xian, how many primordial chaos experts can you bring with you? Ao Beijiang suddenly asked when he thought of the primordial chaos experts. He knew that the real deciding factor might not be the 4 Dao integration experts or the weaker sacred emperors, but the number of primordial chaos experts. Feng Xian understood what Ao Beijiang meant and said after pondering for a while, if we can wait here for 2 or 3 years, I believe I can bring at least 20 primordial chaos experts. I can mobilize nearly 40 primordial chaos experts. No matter how many primordial chaos experts the Great Simplicity Realm has, they can't mobilize more than 30 people, Ao Beijiang said coldly. Feng Xian finally had a chance to speak his mind. Brother Beijiang, you and I are both Dao integration experts. If we let this humiliation go, I'm afraid it will damage our Dao hearts. Since we can crush the Great Simplicity Realm in terms of strength, we might as well break the Great Simplicity Realm's defense array and divide it up. How could Ao Beijiang not understand what Feng Xian meant? The people Feng Xian brought could be considered a real motley crew. In addition to giving Feng Xian face, these people came here to get a share of the loot. Dividing up the Great Simplicity Realm and snatching the resources of various sects was naturally a good thing. Okay, it's settled. Ao Beijiang nodded in agreement without hesitation. No matter how much blame he received, it was nothing compared to the good fortune treasure. Besides, he had just been insulted by a Dao essence cultivator. If he couldn't regain his dignity after being humiliated twice in a row, then his Dao heart would truly have a problem. Grand Essence Military City. This was a new city built after the establishment of the Grand Essence Dao Court Army. The area of the military city was far larger than the Great Simplicity Realm's first sacred city, the Heaven Essence Sacred City. Here, the Grand Essence Dao Court Army's 9 armies trained. In the Grand Essence Military City, whether it was a sect master or a Dao confirming sacred emperor, they only had one identity, the Dao Court Army. Only the 10th Dao Court Army led by Heavenly Array Valley's Sha Su wasn't here. The 10th Dao Court Army was also training, but it wasn't ordinary cooperative combat training. Instead, it was array formation training. This was Ning Cheng's newly created sky overturning strangulation array. Under the guidance of Sha Su's array flags, millions of cultivators who were proficient in array formations surged with Dao runes. At the center of the array, the rumbling of the Dao runes squeezed the space and made crackling sounds. It felt as if the space would collapse in the next moment. All the cultivators who participated in the array formation training were secretly shocked. If they were left in the heart of this array, they would have no chance of surviving. In this kind of space, even magic treasures would be difficult to bring out, and spirit techniques would also be suppressed within the range of one's body. Only Sha Su vaguely knew some secrets. The killing array he led the people to practice didn't even display 1/10 of its power. This killing array could only display its full power in the Boundary Protection Grand Array. He guessed that Ning Cheng had arranged another even more terrifying trap and kill array in the Boundary Protection Grand Array. Once Ning Cheng activated this trap and kill array, he could use the strangulation Grand Array formed by the Dao Court Army to complement it. That way, they would be invincible and invincible. No matter how many people came, they wouldn't be enough to kill. At this time, Sha Su admired Ning Cheng from the bottom of his heart, but he also felt an unknown awe. No wonder Dao Lord Ning could kill Man Suatian. With such means and strength, it wasn't an accident that Dao Lord Ning killed Man Suatian. He was sure that even if they fought again, Ning Cheng would still kill Man Suatian. This made him even more determined to stand with Ning Cheng, and absolutely not do anything stupid. As for Feng Xian, if he dared to come to the Grand Essence Realm, Sha Su was sure that he wouldn't touch a single hair on Ning Cheng's body except to escape. As for the people he brought with him, they probably wouldn't survive. Even Feng Xian himself might not be able to get out of this strangulation Grand Array if he ran a little slower. Outside the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array, things looked a little strange at this time. People kept gathering around Feng Xian, and some primordial chaos holy emperors came from the void and appeared next to Ao Beijiang. With so many people gathered outside the Grand Essence Realm, even a fool would know that these people were ready to attack the Grand Essence Realm. But the Grand Essence Realm didn't move at all. No one even came out to ask about it. It was as if they really didn't know about these things. As for Dao Lord Ning Qing of the Grand Essence Dao Court, he was cultivating under the mysterious fairy ancient clan's annual rings. He knew that Ao Beijiang was mobilizing the Dao Court army, and he also knew that Feng Xian was waiting for his motley crew. Ning Qing wasn't in a hurry at all. He had already set up his net. He just had to wait for these people to arrive before he could start. Chapter 1143. 2 to 3 years passed in a blink of an eye for a cultivator. Outside the Grand Essence Realm's protective array, the Luying Dao Court's army of millions had already arrived. Compared to the Luying Dao Court's army of millions, the hundreds of thousands of people behind Realmless Palace's Feng Xian looked a little chaotic. The void public square outside the Grand Essence Realm had already been occupied by the Dao Court's army and Realmless Palace's cultivators. Not a single person from the Grand Essence Realm could be seen on the public square. The bearded Jesse walked up to Ao Beijiang and cupped his fists towards Ao Beijiang. Senior Ao, I brought 60% of the Luying Dao Court's army this time. Therefore, I hope that Senior can agree to a request of mine. Ao Beijiang waved his hand and said without hesitation, I've already agreed to the request you mentioned before. Jesse shook his head. Apart from this, there's one more thing. Ning Qing most likely has the Tai Sacred Devil Art. That book was snatched from my Luying Dao Court's Lu Fangzhen. Tai Devil Art? Ao Beijiang immediately understood what Jesse wanted when he heard Jesse's words. He felt even more shocked in his heart. Just how much luck did this cultivator called Ning Qing have? How could he obtain so many good things? He even had a devil art. However, he didn't even think about it and directly said, I agree. As long as we can find the Tai devil art from Ning Qing, that book will be yours. Okay, Senior Ao. Please tell us how we're going to attack. Jesse felt overjoyed. Apart from Ao Beijiang's promise, he also came here for the devil art from Ning Qing. Feng Xian also walked over and said, yes, Brother Beijiang can decide how to break through the Grand Essence Realm's protective array this time. If not for the Luying Dao Court's army, the hundreds of thousands of people he gathered would have looked spectacular and imposing. But in front of the Luying Dao Court's army filled with killing intent, his hundreds of thousands of people were nothing more than a motley crew. The reason why the Dao Court's army could be called an army was because of the murderous aura. This murderous aura wasn't something that a single sage emperor could produce. It was the combined killing intent of countless experts. The Grand Essence Realm's protective array doesn't look simple. Dao Lord Jesse, do you think this array has any weaknesses? Where should we start? Ao Beijiang looked at Jays. Jesse was a top-notch divine array master and one of the most famous divine array masters in the Great Change Realm. This was also one of the reasons why Ao Beijiang didn't worry about the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array. Jays' expression turned serious as he stared at the mist-shrouded Grand Array at the end of the void public square. Only after a while did he speak up. This Grand Array looks a bit like the 81 Void Lock Array. 80 strands of Dao Charm of Space have locked the void outside the Grand Essence Realm. The other strand of Dao Charm of Space is most likely a Khanate artifact acting as the core of the array. If we want to attack this formation, we must first send someone to suppress the core of the formation. Ao Beijiang was overjoyed. It's for the best that Dao Lord Jace was able to see through this defensive formation. Let's see how we're going to attack. Jace shook his head. I'm just guessing that this is the 81 Void Lock Array, and there is a Khanate magic treasure suppressing the array core. However, this formation seems a little different, so we can only be sure after entering the defense formation. Ao Beijiang naturally understood this as well. To him, as long as Jace grasped the slightest hint of this array, he would be able to deal with it. A few dozen primordial chaos powerhouses plus millions of Dao court troops would be able to tear apart this defense formation. No matter how powerful a defensive formation was, it was nothing in front of a true powerhouse. If he had surpassed the second step of Tao confirming and entered the third step. Even if he knew nothing about array formations, he could easily tear apart the Grand Essence Realm's defense formation. This was the qualitative change that occurred when one's strength reached a certain level. Okay. After Jace said that, he began to mobilize the Tao court troops into the defense formation. If Jace knew that this defense formation didn't have one Khanate artifact, but two Khanate artifacts suppressing the array core, he might have regretted coming here. After Jace spoke, Feng Xian didn't say anything else. When he heard Jace say that the Grand Essence Realm's Grand Array had a Khanate artifact suppressing it, he had a bad feeling in his heart. Since Ning Cheng had snatched away his Mountain and River Dipper, could it be that the Grand Essence Realm used his Mountain and River Dipper to suppress the array? Under the leadership of a Primordial Chaos Holy Emperor, two Tao Perfection Holy Emperors, and a top-grade Spirit Array Master like Jace, the Tao Court troops charged towards the Grand Essence Realm's defense formation. This kind of momentum was almost crushing, without the slightest hesitation. Millions of people, almost with every step they took, a powerful murderous aura and Tao rhymes condensed together, causing bursts of crackling sounds. Luying Cloud Cleaving Army, advance 30 miles in the direction of my array flag and stand at the Gen position. Luying God Subduing Army, advance 100 miles in the direction of the array flag and stand at the Sun position. Jace threw out array flags one after another, and teams of cultivator troops charged forward with murderous Tao rhymes. In a short time, this place was filled with a solemn and murderous aura. For army suppress. The rest of you, follow my array flags and attack. Jace's voice grew faster and faster. Not only did he feel that something was wrong, but even the two Tao Perfection Holy Emperors also felt that something was wrong. Because no one from the Grand Essence Realm came out to stop them, and there wasn't even a sound of alarm. It was normal that there was no sound of alarm. After all, they had been waiting outside the Grand Essence Realm for several years. Even if the people of the Grand Essence Realm were idiots, they would know that they would attack the Grand Essence Realm sooner or later. But no one came out to stop them. This wasn't right. Jace began to suppress the array core and was ready to break the array. Boom boom boom. The Tao Court Army's first wave of attacks finally landed on the Void Array flags. Everyone felt their bodies shake, as if the void they were standing in had become unstable. Jace threw out array flags one after another, and the continuous attacks were coordinated by the array flags. The rumbling sounds grew faster and faster. As a Tao Lord, Jace had led the Tao Court Army into countless battles. As an array formation master, he knew that once a battle started, the most taboo thing to do was to cower. Everyone knew the principle of the first burst of energy, the second burst of energy, and the third burst of energy. Ka ka ka. Sounds of the defensive array cracking rang out, and someone finally spoke. Ao Beijiang, this is the first time you bullied my Grand Essence Realm for no reason and even injured my Grand Essence Realm's people. Our Tao monarchs didn't care about it because the Grand Change Realm and the Grand Essence Realm both belong to the 5 Grand Realms. But I didn't expect you to go too far. You even brought the Tao Court Army. Do you want to be a bandit as a famous Tao perfection expert? The one who spoke was Kang Shushan. After a series of cracking sounds, Kang Shushan's figure was revealed. Beside him, there were countless blurry figures of array masters who were anxiously and nervously laying down array flags. It was clear that they were protecting the array. Seeing this scene, many people breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out to be a deceptive array. If this array formation hadn't been blasted open, they wouldn't have known that the Grand Essence Realm was just putting on a strong front. Ao Beijiang showed a cold smile. Kang Shushan, don't pretend. I'll say it again. Hand over Ning Cheng, and we'll retreat. Otherwise, the Grand Change Tao Court Army won't retreat so easily. Just as Ao Beijiang's voice fell, a cracking sound rang out, and the entire space trembled. It felt as if countless spaces had started to collapse. The Grand Essence Realm's appearance became clearer under everyone's spiritual consciousness. Kang Shushan's expressions changed. He waved his hand and said, all array formation masters, retreat. The Grand Simplicity people, press forward. Even if my Grand Simplicity realm has to kill to the last person, we will never let these shameless people invade. Although Kang Shushan said these words, he felt speechless in his heart. Ning Cheng had asked him to say these words. He was sure that even an idiot could see that the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array was so easily blasted open. It was a deceptive move to lure the enemy. Who made Ning Cheng a Tao Lord? He could only do as Ning Cheng said. Kang Shushan didn't guess wrong. While he retreated with the Grand Essence Realm's Spirit Array Masters, no one from Ao Beijiang's side rushed in. Just as Kang Shushan thought, even an idiot could tell that this array formation was so easy to break. Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian glanced at Jessie but didn't speak. Jessie hesitated for a moment before saying, that Ning Cheng doesn't look like an idiot. Why use such a low-level method? Feng Xian remained silent for a while before saying, on the contrary, I don't think this is a low-level method. It's the most successful way to lure the enemy. The most successful? Everyone stared at Feng Xian. Feng Xian said in a deep voice, everyone knows that this is a low-level method to lure the enemy. But since we want to go to the Grand Essence Realm, can we not go in? Many people understood Feng Xian's meaning. This person deliberately used this method to lure the enemy. But since you want to destroy the Grand Essence Realm, you have to fall for it. If you don't want to go in, then retreat. This had been planned for many years, so who would want to retreat? Jessie nodded. I also guess that Ning Cheng used an overt plot. Facing this situation, we have to go in. Since we know that he's luring the enemy, we can't go in together. Only a few of us can go in. Ning Cheng just wants to let some of our people enter, and then kill as many of them as he can to weaken our strength. If he really thinks this way, then we can only say that he's like this. Sometimes, in the face of absolute strength, small schemes don't have much use. Although he said that, Jessie didn't send anyone in. Ao Beijiang had to say, Tao Lord Jessie, send an army to test it out. If the killing array isn't too strong, we can tear it apart with our strength. Jessie felt helpless, but he could only do this. His Tao Court army came here to do this. He didn't use the Tao Court army suppressing the innate artifacts array core. This time, he sent out 100,000 of the most ordinary Tao Court army. The 100,000 Tao Court army rushed directly into the cracked defensive array under the leadership of a primordial essence Holy Emperor. As soon as these 100,000 people rushed in, a terrifying killing sound swept in from all directions, trapping these 100,000 people tightly. The Tao Charm killing lines seemed almost corporeal as they blasted into the 100,000 Tao Court army. Just like cutting melons and stir-frying vegetables, the 100,000 Tao Court army died at a speed visible to the naked eye. Even the primordial essence Holy Emperor couldn't hold on for long. I understand. This is a void strangulation array. It's an array formation that uses 10 to kill 1. This is their trump card. Just now, the Grand Essence Realm used nearly 1 million Tao Court army. Moreover, they still have more than 2 million people who haven't moved yet. If we fill in bit by bit, we will end up like those 100,000 people. If we all rush in, the effect of this array formation will weaken indefinitely. We can definitely tear this strangulation array apart in a short time. Jessie said with a stern voice. Chapter 1144. Jessie's attainments in the Tao of arrays definitely surpassed Sha Su's. Sha Su couldn't see through Ning Cheng's void strangulation array. When Ning Cheng explained to Sha Su that it was a void strangulation array, Sha Su still felt a little worried. He worried that no one in the Grand Change Realm could see that Ning Cheng's array was a void strangulation array in a hurry. If they couldn't see through it, the Grand Change Realm's Tao Court's army might choose to attack the array from the periphery. If they kept attacking from the periphery, no matter how weak the effect was, after a few decades, the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array's first array, the Heart Mountain River Dipper, might break. To prevent the Heart Mountain River Dipper from getting damaged, Ning Cheng would definitely take the initiative to attack. Once he took the initiative to attack, even with the help of a hidden killing array, the Grand Essence Realm's losses would rise sharply. Ning Qing set up this void strangulation array so as not to suffer too many losses. Ning Qing didn't guess wrong. After the Luying Dao Court's army's first wave of attacks, someone recognized it as a void strangulation array, and everyone rushed forward. Just as Jesse expected, after the Luying Dao Court's army swarmed forward, the void strangulation array broke without any resistance. Nearly 2 million Grand Essence Dao Court's army was exposed in front of everyone. Feng Xian laughed, but before he could speak, he heard Ao Beijiang say in a deep voice, "Something still doesn't feel right." Jesse frowned slightly. He knew that his judgment was correct. It was indeed a void strangulation array. But as Ao Beijiang said, something still didn't feel right after the void strangulation array broke. But he soon felt relieved. So what if something was wrong? Even if there was another killing array that he couldn't see through, there was nothing to be afraid of. To trap millions of Dao Court's army, dozens of Primordial Chaos Holy Emperors, and 2 Dao Reunion Holy Emperors, the Grand Essence realm couldn't set up such a killing array. In the end, they still had to rely on force. Feng Xian repeated Jay's words, "Brother Beijiang, even if they still have a hidden trap and kill array or other means, so what? At this time, we have to rely on force. Even if we lose some people, we can definitely tear apart the entire Grand Essence realm's defensive array." There was one more thing that Feng Xian didn't say. That is, if the Grand Essence realm truly had top-level means, he and Ao Beijiang, 2 Dao Perfection realm cultivators, could easily escape. After that, Feng Xian waved his hand, and his Dao charm mixed with his voice roared out, "Tai Su is right in front of us. Fellow Taoists, follow me to crush it. Let's celebrate in Tai Su." Almost at the same time as Feng Xian launched his attack, Jesse also drove the Dao Court army. The aura of millions of Dao Court army swept down, and the Taisu Dao Court army in front of them was like a thin piece of paper that could be crushed into powder at any time. Dao ripples rumbled as killing intent swept out. Everything in front of the glazed pearl Dao Court's army would be shattered into pieces at this instant. Every cultivator in the void could feel a burst of panic in their hearts. Even the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army, who knew that Ning Cheng had a backup plan, felt a burst of panic. No matter how strong a person was, they could only wait for death under the crushing Dao Rime killing aura. Space was no longer space, and the laws were no longer under the control of an individual. With so many killing Dao Rimes condensing together, it formed a terrifying killing pressure. Even cultivators with weaker Dao hearts would have their resistance plummet. The killing Dao Rimes in the space scraped against the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army in front of them, causing blood to blossom. One by one, the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army was blown into the void by this killing Dao Rime and directly disintegrated into a blood mist. The Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army had only been established for a short time. Even if they had been informed in advance, it was still difficult for them to act in such a situation. The Dao Court army became a little chaotic. Seeing the killing aura continue to suppress them, the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army would collapse without a fight. Ning Cheng, who stood at the edge of the void's killing aura, acted as if he didn't see it at all. He kept staring at the Grand Change Realm's Dao Court army rushing in. When the last soldier of the Dao Court rushed in, he suddenly threw out several dozens of array flags and issued a battle call at the same time. The space filled with the killing Dao Rime aura suddenly stagnated at this moment. It felt as if an invisible giant hand was stirring up the killing space created by the Grand Change Realm's Luying Dao Court army. The killing space turned chaotic, and the imposing aura of the space no longer suppressed the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army. This is absolutely impossible. Jay stared at the gradually disorderly killing Dao Rime in the surrounding space in shock. The strangulation space that had suppressed the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army collapsed, and endless new killing auras slowly filled the air. These killing auras started to counterattack under the stirring of the more than 2 million Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army. Jays was a top-notch array formation expert, so he naturally understood that he had fallen into a top-notch trap and kill array. If he had to arrange this kind of trap and kill array, he wouldn't have been able to do so without hundreds of thousands of people in a few years' time. To make this trap and kill array so hidden and easy to control, it required at least a Xiantian weapon. According to his judgment, the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array had a Xiantian weapon. Now, there was another Xiantian weapon hiding here to form a hidden trap and kill array. How could he still have a chance to survive? Cold sweat trickled down Jay's back. He suddenly recalled that Ning Cheng had died in the Grand Change Realm but ended up appearing in the Grand Essence Realm. This person could have participated in the third round of the 5 Realms pill competition, but he didn't. How could he have thought that he could easily snatch something from this person? Ao Beijiang had harmed him, and it was because of Ao Beijiang's powerful reputation that he didn't consider these things. If Ning Cheng was so easy to deal with, why would Ao Beijiang think of him? Retreat. If he retreated now, he would still have a chance. If he didn't retreat now, he wouldn't even have a chance. Since Ning Cheng had arranged such a sinister hidden killing array, it meant that he definitely had a backup plan. The backup plan definitely wasn't the 2 million Dao Court army. If it were him, he would have arranged a team of Dao Court army that could sweep through this trap and kill array. If he could think of this, how could he not think of Ning Cheng's sinister plan? Retreat. This time, Jays no longer cared about Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian. He frantically issued orders for the Luying Dao Court army to retreat. Despite knowing that it was too late to retreat, Jays had no choice but to issue such an order. If they retreated at this time, some of the Dao Court army would still have a chance. But if they retreated a little later, the Luying Dao Court army wouldn't even have a scrap left. Boom boom boom. The terrifying killing aura in the space made Jays' heart sink to the bottom. Groups after groups of Grand Essence Realm cultivators rushed over from all directions. In the endless trap and kill array, just as he had imagined, there were countless people controlling this trap and kill array. Within the trap and kill array, the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army could use the array to divide and kill the Luying Dao Court army. As for the Luying Dao Court army, not only were they bound by the array, but they also had to face the endless attacks of the Grand Essence Dao Court army. At this time, the killing aura of the Luying Dao Court army had already turned chaotic, and all the Dao Court army's cultivators were in a mess. In the entire space, apart from the killing Dao charm aura, there was only blood mist and the sound of bones being torn apart. As a top-grade spirit array master, Jays was the first to notice that they were trapped by Ning Cheng's trap and kill array. Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian didn't notice it too late. The moment the two saw the Grand Essence Realm's hidden trap and kill array activate, they knew that the situation was hopeless. Their strength was far superior to ordinary cultivators. Not only could they see the changes in the Dao charm aura, but they could also clearly see the siege of the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army. How could there be just 2 million Dao Court army? In terms of numbers, it was definitely no less than the Luying Dao Court army from the Grand Change Realm. In addition, there seemed to be a million array Dao army controlling the trap and kill array. Moreover, they were in the center of the trap and kill array, where the killing aura was the strongest. Because they had rushed in together, it was too late to retreat now. Not to mention a first step array Dao Sacred Emperor, even a Dao Essence Sacred Emperor or a Primordial Chaos Sacred Emperor would be easily killed in this place. An individual's strength seemed insignificant under the superimposition of millions of killing Dao charm. The Grand Essence Realm only had about 20 Primordial Chaos Sacred Emperors, but with the help of the trap and kill array, they had a clear advantage on the battlefield. Dao charm, weapon radiance, talisman explosions, spirit essence collisions. At this moment, this place turned into an Azura hell. If it weren't for the fact that there were too many Primordial Chaos Sacred Emperors and Dao Essence Sacred Emperors in the Grand Change Realm, the battle might have already come to an end. Strength was indeed important, but in this place, strength only allowed them to persist a little longer. Feng Xian and Ao Beijiang wanted to kill Sha Sujuan, who played an absolute role in the array formation, but the two didn't dare. They knew that Shuriqing and Kang Shushan were waiting on the side. Once they moved, they would immediately fall into a siege. At this moment, the two thought of retreating at the same time. They didn't even want to use their spirit techniques to kill more Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army. For them, Staying here for even a moment longer meant more danger. What's going on? When Wan Yuheng, Huang Bei's, and the others appeared on the periphery of the Grand Essence realm, they all looked at the tumbling void in the distance in shock. Waves of killing aura seeped out from it, mixed with the smell of blood. Not only that, but a large amount of blood mist also seeped out. Wan Yuheng and Huang Bei's were accompanied by more than 30 primordial chaos experts who had experienced the vicissitudes of life. They came here after coming out of the Perpetual Moon sect to help Ning Cheng. I understand. Ning Cheng is using the trap and kill array to strangle the people who invaded the Grand Essence realm. Chu Manha said with a sigh. This method was truly powerful. She didn't go inside to see Ning Cheng's trap and kill array. Instead, she just looked at it from the outside. It wasn't something that could be arranged casually. The black and white bearded man standing next to Chu Manha also exclaimed, Dao friend Ning, this trap and kill array requires at least 100,000 people to arrange for several years to succeed. This trap and kill array drives the endless void's killing power, and it also uses a top-grade weapon as the array's core. It looks like Dao friend Ning has already prepared for this. That's right, Dao friend Ning is someone who plans ahead.